All right, guys, it's here. Thank you so much for joining us today on the premiere of Reanimated the Podcast, a passion project between me and my friends, Shady and Zuhair, which you'll meet later on in the episode. This has been a project that we've been working on for a while and something we're extremely proud of and something that we are so thankful for you guys to be a part of and to be able to share with YouTube, our audience, and anybody that may be listening. I'd like to give several big thanks. First of all, a thanks to my friends, and a special thanks to JustleDesigns.co, which will be appearing on screen right now. They are responsible for the official artwork for anything related to the podcast, and my God, are they a good artist. Please make sure to go give them a follow, link in the description of every video, and thank you so much to JustleDesigns.co for your amazing artwork. Go give them a follow. Secondly, I'd like to give a massive thank you to anybody that's clicked on this video or is listening, regardless of what the circumstances are. Thank you so much for supporting this and me and my friends' work. This is a big thing for us, and we really appreciate it. Another thing, any companies listening to this, that's right, on screen now, copyright fair use notice. So, we saved our butts. With all that out of the way, thank you guys for clicking. Please, enjoy the video.
This podcast is brought to you by BGM Museum, Greek channel for copyright-free music, and a special thanks to Dayz Musiq. Go support them in their work. Now, enjoy the show.
Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Reanimated the Podcast. One of the only podcasts that really does talk about anime. Today we're going to be talking about some of our top picks for anime and some of our favorite things. And then we're going to go over some questions about what got us into anime and what kind of stuff just relating to anime. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce and pass it over to my boys. I got two of my good friends right here. Better get used to them because they're going to be on the podcast for, ever. But just go ahead and introduce yourself, boys. We can go ahead and start with Zuhair.
Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Zuhair. I'm a college student, and I like to watch anime.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Is that it?
Yeah. I mean, what am I supposed to say?
What are you studying in college, I guess?
What am I studying in college? I'm studying to be a mechanical engineer.
Oh, pretty nice.
Yeah.
A weeb with the dream. That's
a
always
weeb with the dream. Yeah, functional weebs, dude.
Functional weebs. That doesn't exist. But now we can move on to my other boy. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Shady.
All right, my name is Shady. Who knows if you know me on the good old Instagram, but I run a page called Don't Lose Your Lily, and then I also run a backup page where I just post a bunch of my Valorant gaming clips, but pretty not active on there because Instagram's boring. But,
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I like anime. Haven't been watching it that much, but still love all the old series that I watched, and still love the music. Still keep kind of updated with some of them. Just hear it from my friends from the good old Wanpankun.
Oh yes, of course. That's another thing we can do later is we can go over music because Shady's pretty. I know you're really like into
I love
soundtracks.
Yeah, I love music.
I like the soundtracks too, but I need to make a list. You need to get on that, Zuhair, because I don't know if you.
I mean, I dabble.
You dabble. Yeah, you dabble.
Yeah,
just a little bit,
Make sure you dabble in that Made in Abyss soundtrack.
I need to watch Made in Abyss.
Dude, I need to watch that too. I've heard good things.
It's like, okay, I would say you guys should watch it, but man, it's just so weird sometimes, man.
We can get into it. We can get into it. Don't worry.
Get into that, yeah.
But yes, so guys, this is episode 1 of our podcast, and we started this podcast. I guess we can go over why we started the podcast. I presented the idea to my friends. Obviously, you just met them. About a podcast that talks about anime. Because I looked on Spotify. Obviously, if you guys are listening to this, I'm sure you guys probably know what Trash Taste is. Trash Taste, lovely podcast, group of great guys and stuff. Really inspired by them. And abroad in Japan, he also does a podcast, not anime, but I like the flow of stuff. But I felt inspired to make a podcast just because they say they're an anime podcast, and this is no diss or no nothing to them. They don't really talk a lot about anime. So I wanted to make a podcast that focused on anime, talked over, and what we're going to do in this is, go reviews or something, talk about certain animes we like, animes that are coming out. Obviously like this, we're doing a 3x3 today, which if you don't know, it's an old, I think it's, 2chan, 4chan kind of thing essentially you take your top 9 anime, whether that be the criteria for this, for our episode today, top picks, whether that be in terms of objectively speaking, they're really good, or subjectively, you just like to watch them. Because, for example, this list, if you like Dragon Ball a lot, Dragon Ball objectively, which I know I might get some hate for this, I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, right? I love Dragon Ball. These boys like Naruto. But Dragon Ball itself really isn't that good. And come on, if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you got to know that it's not that good. Goku just powers up and gets new powers out of his ass every single fight, and it's just it's not it. But objectively speaking, I grew up with Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball. I can watch it all the time. And so this list that we're doing today, which is our 3x3 top 9 picks by 3 people, 27 in total, is just sort of a way to get you to understand our taste and to sort of introduce ourselves as anime fans and anime enjoyers, weeaboos, whatever you want to call us, in general. So these are our top picks, whether it be subjective or objectively speaking. And then we'll go over in detail why we picked some of these choices, certain animes, why they ended up on the list, certain animes that could have ended up on the list, or just, anything related to the sort. But the focus of this podcast is to talk about anime and anime related topics, to just sort of bring it out to the audience, because I've watched other anime podcasts, and while they're good, I feel like they lack a sort of chemistry and a sort of flow that I feel like this podcast will be able to deliver. And so I just want to appreciate anybody that has or will be, or if you're watching this from the future, if we are successful, I want to appreciate anybody that watches this podcast, because right now we're not doing it for any other reason but for enjoyment, to bring something nice to people and anime lovers in general, because it's a medium that we all really like and appreciate a lot. So that actually leads me into our first question of this podcast episode. What got you guys into anime? What anime started it all? Any funny stories related to why you started anime, or how far back does it go? How long have you guys been watching anime? Just those kind of questions. So I guess we can go ahead and start with, since Zuhair, you introduced yourself, we can start with we'll start with you, Shady. So just go ahead and, what got you into anime, and what anime was it?
All right. Wow. This is actually probably should be a pretty good story. Let me tell you one thing from this anime, or from what I guess it kind of started in, but okay. To explain it easier, I didn't think when I was younger, I didn't think anime was anime. I just thought it was adult cartoons. And so I watched 3, or actually I watched 4, and I generally didn't think they were anime. So I'm going to include them as my first, but then I generally thought they were just cartoons. So my first one was actually Psycho Pass. And
what?
Then,
Whoa.
And then it went, yeah, and so because I loved the crime, so I used to watch a lot of TV shows, just normal, I hate to say normal, American TV shows. I would watch X-Files, I watched Lost, I watched, I remember, oh man, what
I was gonna say iCarly and.
Oh no, I watched Game of Thrones. I remember I was watching that when I was in 6th grade.
You came out the womb. You came out the womb
because I wanted
immaculate taste.
Yeah, Brothers of Arm. I don't know. I loved just kind of stuff like that, and then I just on Netflix, it just was man, I'm dude, these are some because when I was younger, obviously not now. When I was younger, I wanted to be an investigator. That would have been just so cool. And so it was, Psycho Pass was the perfect one. It was this future, and it had such a good story. And then so I went from there to Attack on Titan, and Sword Art Online, and Death Note. And then those are my 4. And then I kind of it was when I was moving from elementary to junior high. So then in my mind, I was I can't be nerdy, so I'm just gonna stop watching this stuff and just get into more dude, it was so bad. 7th grade, I was trying to get into shoes. No, bro, don't try to do that. Yeah, don't try to do stuff that you don't like, bro.
That's the 7th grade.
I was listening to it. It was the start of 7th grade, but
dude, because I remember when every single 6th grader had those fucking neon Nike Elite
Yes,
socks.
yes,
and
I
neon
had those,
fucking
yep.
Nike Elite shorts.
Dude, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I was also a part of that elite sock
Yeah.
thing, dude.
Oh
that was a sad time.
Thank you.
That was a sad time.
Yeah, it was a rough time because it was also okay. I still like rap music, but I like the rap I was listening to. It was just really what was popular, so I can fit in. So it took a bit, and then right when I first saw, freshman year of high school. This is what really started my anime. So
those were the gateway drugs. Now you're straight into heroin.
Oh yeah, this was down into the depths. This is where the Deejin phase started.
Down bad.
Yeah, but what was it? I was, just enjoying my freshman year. It was like, I think, oh man, I don't know, bro. To all the listeners out there, man, women be crazy, but.
That's when I met you, was freshman year.
Yeah.
Met Zuhair freshman. Just a little tidbit of info. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're
but
good.
for anybody listening, I've known these guys for a long time. Zuhair, we went to the same middle school, but we really became friends. I think I don't even remember when. I just know we became friends.
Dude, we had that one art class together.
Shit, really?
I don't remember what year it was though, but we had that one art class. I think.
Oh, that's right. It was me, you, Emma, right?
I don't know who else was there, but I just know you were there and I was there.
Well, yeah. Anyway, I've known Zuhair for a long time. We have a lot of mutual friends. I've known Shady for a long time. We met freshman year with our group of friends, our original group of friends. Well, I wouldn't say original.
Yeah,
the original purpose of the group of friends was anime.
Yeah.
That's when, I'm not gonna lie, that's when all me and Shady and the rest of our friends, we were down bad for the anime.
We were.
One of our friends is still really down bad.
Well, so I assume you're talking about Ether, right?
Yeah, let's talk about Ether.
Okay. He's just down bad at fate, bro. That man is just absolute everything. He's sitting on my bed and we're like scrolling through YouTube. He's like, "Is that Tsukihime?" And I'm like, "No way did he see that," because I was scrolling super fast. And he was just like, "Bro, that's Tsukihime." And we're like, "Bro, you're gonna get a tattoo of Tsukihime." He's like, "You never know." And I'm like,
that guy's down
loves
bad.
his fate. Yeah, he loves his fate.
But anyway, so freshman year. Sorry, interrupting. Freshman year, and then what was it?
For what again? I'm stupid.
I interrupted you. Your story.
Oh no! You want me to go back? Oh, okay. Gotcha. So freshman year, I think this was like kind of a little bit. Okay, I just remember. I don't know if you remember this guy, Preston Smith.
Oh my god. Okay.
That man got me. That man got me into like not a good relationship. But then one day, I was sitting there, so I was like dating this girl, and I'm 14, so it's not really like actually. It was like 2 months like in, and I was watching Sword Art Online, and it was like episode like 17 or 18 when Kirito and Asuna, or like Asuna, quote unquote, dies, and she somehow gets saved by the power of love, blah blah blah.
Jeez,
it was great.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! I gotta put a spoiler tag now.
Gosh.
The Sword Art Online.
Well, I mean, at this point, if you haven't seen Sword Art Online, which
awesome.
I actually haven't, but I'm not really.
Yeah, you're not missing much. Let me tell you.
I
mean, the opening is a banger. Crossing Field.
Dude, no.
But
the girls
anyway, Sword Art Online.
But yeah, Asuna, definitely. It was like this different feeling of love, man. And I was like, bro, I'd rather just watch anime than be with this girl. And I'm like,
oh my god.
And so
yes, sir. Committed to the grind.
Yeah,
hey, that deserves a clap, man. That deserves a clap.
She had no idea why it happened, because I was not going to tell her it was from a fictional woman. Oh man, she was fine. Austin was fine, but
she is pretty fine. I do what I know of Sword Art Online. I know Asuna's fine, and I know in the movie there's the uncensored where she's coming out of the bat. This is going to show my degenerate side a lot.
Wait,
she's coming out of the bat.
Yeah, he's right. I've seen that. It was quite good.
It's so good.
Yeah, her seeing on this girl, or her, I guess, Kirito's cousin, which that was really weird that they had a. Okay, never mind. I don't want to.
Yeah. We'll talk about the mess that is Isekai another episode. Because I say that right. Isekai is good, but a lot of isekais aren't good.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's a discussion another time.
Yeah.
But
indeed.
But yeah, so that was your introduction to anime, and
yeah,
so
it was like.
So really, you were born out of the womb with fucking like massive taste. I mean, the shows you were saying, right? like,
Mhm.
I imagine you're probably what, like 13, 12?
Yeah, I was like 11, 12.
Dude, when I was 11 and 12, you want to know what I was fucking watching? I was watching iCarly. I was twiddling myself in my fucking ass watching iCarly and watching
You know,
Phineas and Ferb going, Mom, look at this, iCarly.
I just love
that's
the
like,
Eden
that's
story.
like third, fourth, fifth. It's like fifth grade, ain't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it
so-
was 5th, 6th.
Yeah, so
I was
fifth
watching
grade,
them.
what was I watching? Fifth grade, I was watching Phineas and Ferb, and fucking anything that came on TV. So that you were born out the womb with taste. So that's impressive.
Yeah,
Um,
I just loved good shows.
So do you want me to go next, Zuhair, or do you want to go, or do you want me to go?
I mean, yours is probably more interesting, so we'll save the best for last. Yeah.
Okay.
So my introduction to anime, I mean, mine is kind of similar to my friend Shady here. I mean, I kind of just always watched it, right? Like, I don't remember, like, I kind of just watched shows and I just didn't know that it was anime, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, of course, everybody's watched, you know, like the Pokemons and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, I remember I'd wake up, right, Saturday morning, catch the next Pokemon and Beyblade episode, and sometimes Inuyasha would be on. So I would just be watching Inuyasha, not actually knowing that it's like a anime or whatever, right? But I guess if I had to say what my first actual anime was that I like actually went out of my way to watch was like 6th grade. Attack on Titan had just came out.
Mhm.
Everybody's talking about it.
It
It was
did come out,
super
yeah.
hyped up. And so yeah, that's like the first anime I went out of my way to watch was like Attack on Titan. And after that, you know, your Sword Art Onlines and all that stuff came for me too.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think Attack on Titan came out 2013,
Yeah.
and then
it
Sword Art
started
Online
blowing
also came out that same year, which was the introduction to all isekai right now.
up. Indeed.
Uh, But yeah, no. Did you used to watch cartoons on the CW for kids? Like it was Saturday mornings at like it's CW, like where
I
the
used to watch them on Cartoon Network, bro. Like
yeah, they
like,
had
I would
Pokemon
catch,
Black
like-
and White.
yeah, I would
They-
like catch like the tail ends of like Adult Swim,
Yeah.
and then Cartoon Network would start 'cause, like Adult Swim ended at like 7 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, Saturday morning, I'd just wake up and they'd have. So I guess this in kind of, I'll start with mine now. This isn't my introduction to anime. The introduction that I have for anime, I'll tell here in a second. But to talk about what we were talking about a second ago, what's it called? I'd wake up every morning, Saturday, the CW for kids. They have Sonic X, they'd have Dinosaur King, they have Yu-Gi-Oh, and they'd have all sorts of stuff, and Dragon Ball Z Kai. My first introduction to anime. So all right, picture this, right? You're a 4th, 5th grader, right? And you just got your phone. You're like, wow, this is really nice, right? Now what's the first thing you do when you get your phone? You're gonna watch porn, right?
Okay,
I'm
yo,
searching
did
for
I
stuff,
even
right?
know what that was in 4th
No,
grade?
see, I didn't even know until Preston Smith.
Dude, no, hold on. Okay, maybe I'm just a fucking degenerate, but
No, it's fine. There's nothing wrong. with it.
so here it is, right? Picture this. I'm scrolling through my phone. Little kid just looking at stuff, right? Didn't really know what it was, but I was like, wow, this is kind of nice. So I stumble upon this animated series, and I'm like, what is this? And so, without realizing it, what I had effectively done is watch the entirety of Kiss X Sis on my phone, just there as like a 4th and 5th grader. So, do you guys know what Kiss X Sis is?
Of course. Oh my
Do
goodness.
you know what Kiss X Sis is?
I've heard of this before.
Okay, so for those that don't know, Kiss X Sis is like an extremely ecchi show about this guy who I forgot if they're. It's been so long since I've watched the show. I forgot if they're blood related or if they're not. But he ends up moving in with these sisters, and it gets pretty ecchi. They do all sorts of shit. The thing that I remember the most, because each one of them are trying to like fuck the guy. Like each one of them are trying to one up the other girl by doing more and more and more ecchi shit in order to get him to love one of them, right? And so it's like one of the first like harem, like ecchi eromanga kind of sensei shows that came out. And so basically, if you don't know what Kiss X Sis is, it's like a 2000 mid to late 2000 show that is borderlining hentai. There's no sex or anything, but they borderline hentai. But it's it's eromanga sensei before Eromanga Sensei was Eromanga Sensei. And the thing I remember the most about it, this is the catalyst, because I'll explain here in a second. I did watch other shows, right? But this is the true, I guess, first anime that I've ever watched, which I didn't ever think about it until now, because I didn't realize it was my first anime. But the thing I remember the most was there's this scene where they get chocolate flavored lip gloss and they start making out with their brother. and they start putting it in different places so he can start tasting the chocolate lip gloss.
Okay.
Wow, this is getting
Degenerate
crazy.
shit I have ever watched. And I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Yeah. And I was like fucking 10, 11, watching Kiss X Sis. I'll put some clips of it on the screen. It's fucking degenerate. I do have to say, though, I think my favorite girl, if you know what I'm talking about, is the one with the Band-Aid on her face. She was more tomboy than the other. So since birth, I've always been a tomboy kind of guy. So that tomboy girl is pretty nice. That I guess technically would be the first anime series that I truly watched, because then afterwards what I did, you know, everybody watches Pokemon, everybody watches Dragon Ball Z Kai. Dragon Ball Z Kai came out when I was little, and so I would watch it weekly. I started watching it right when Goku fights Vegeta, all the way until they stopped doing it after the Cell games, which was a couple years. But the first one, besides Kiss X Sis, which is a lovely anime to introduce yourself to, coming out the gate strong. I did actually binge the entirety. I went. This is my first pirate site. We'll get into piracy on another episode, but I pirated. It was bulbadex.com, and it had every single Pokemon episode you could watch ever. And it had like a picture of Venusaur. It's like a Kiss anime, but for Pokemon. And I watched from season 1 all the way to season 5. So I don't know if you really want to count that. I would, because like technically I did go out of my way to watch every single episode. So it wasn't like it was airing at the time. But Pokemon was the second one that I truly would consider one of my first anime series. But when I really started getting into anime, like 100% getting into anime, besides Kiss X Sis and Pokemon, was I watched Yu Yu Hakusho, which if you don't know what Yu Yu Hakusho is, really goated show. I remember telling you guys about it, Shady.
Yeah.
But back then I was a bit of a gatekeeper. So
yeah, but I mean, there was nothing wrong with that. I kind of respect it now, especially after seeing what happens with a lot of shows. But
yeah, gatekeeping is
a little bit of gatekeeping ain't hurt nobody.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah, but like I was gatekeeping it pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie.
You're not OG like me. You didn't watch Yu Yu Hakusho.
No, that's exactly what. That's no joke. That's
exactly. But I still remember that, because I remember I tried to watch it, and he was like, "You watching that?" And I'm like, and you were like,
Oh yeah, and I remember I tell you guys that it was dog shit, so you guys wouldn't watch it. I was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. I was a pretty gatekeeper.
It was funny, man. He made me.
Oh my god! But yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho was the first real, I would consider, anime that truly got me into it. Because then after Yu Yu Hakusho, I watched a bunch of other shows. The next show I watched, which is one of the shows is on my list, so I'm not gonna say it. But if you know Rumiko Takahashi, I'll go over some of the shows she makes when I get onto one of my picks. But I watched a lot of hers, and this is kind of what sets the tone for a lot of the shows I watch now. And I'll explain why that is in a second, because my taste originally, it's different than it is now, but you can see how it sort of changed what I watched, because, you know, I was a bit of a gatekeeper. I was also a bit of a prick. I'm not a prick like in general, but when it came to anime, I was very pretentious. I was like, I'm not watching that normie shit. I'm not watching that shit coming on now. So like Attack on Titan, I've been putting off Attack on Titan for so long, because I was like, I'm not watching that normie shit. Mainstream people watch that shit. I'm not watching this shit because it's popular. So I didn't watch any of the popular shows. So I found a lot of shows that are really old or older or aren't as popular. And that's sort of what defined my taste up until now. Obviously, I'm not as pretentious or gatekeepy because I'm talking about these shows. That was a dark time in my life. I think it's a dark time for everybody.
Yeah, everybody. Exactly. You do not understand. Oh, Lord.
But you can kind of see how my taste has developed into what it is today. But yeah, so my TLDR, first anime I've ever truly watched, and I'm extremely proud to say it, is Kissexis. I need to go back and watch it again because that shit is good. But I came out the gate with full degeneracy. I think the only thing that could step that up as your first anime would either be Eromanga Sensei or Oremo. Either one of those would. I think it's either on par.
Yeah. I would only say Eromanga just because of how young the girl is. They do some crazy things, bro.
They do. They definitely do. But yes, it was. Yeah, that was my introduction into anime. Came out the gate strong, man. I wasn't watching that weak shit.
Yeah, that was weak shit.
But anyway, so now we can get into our 3x3s. Thank you, boys, for answering those questions. That was lovely. I love to hear from both of you. That was good. That was good. But now we can get into our 3x3s. So since Zuhair, since Zach, cut that out. Since Shady is so Zuhair, since Shady went first the last time, and you went first the last time, you can go first this time. And introduce your anime. So I guess just some guidelines, some guiding questions. What were the criteria for choosing these animes? And then you can say whatever the fuck you want for them. I mean, you could just introduce them and that's it. Or you can go on a tangent about how it's changed your life and how you jerk off to their hentai or something.
Okay. Let's go. I'm not gonna call myself like that now. Come on.
Oh, come on, man. Hey, you know those parody dojins be hitting different. They hit different. Especially
dude. One thing I will say, dude, Ava, Fate. They're amazing.
Oh my god,
they're crazy.
Amazing.
They're so crazy. Fate is probably the biggest one.
No, Fate is for sure the biggest.
Fate has some of the best, and this is why I want to get into Fate, is because like just to understand what they're talking about in those dojins.
Oh, it's amazing. It feels great.
Because those Fate dojins,
oh, you've watched Fate?
Oh, I've watched. Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I watched all of Fate. Besides those kind of new.
Those dojins are next level.
I think I watched Unlimited Blade Works, and I was like, this shit is boring.
I love the Limited Blade Works.
For real?
Yeah, I love it, bro. That shit was. Oops, I'm just the average Fate fan, though. So.
Wow, that's so funny. The duality of we.
No, it's just that's respect, man. I don't know.
Dude, all I'm gonna say is that like. In Rin, she's the only like redeeming factor of that show for me.
Bro, Rin, so that's the only reason I kept watching, because she was just so beautiful, man. Oh, and you see her other like kind of pseudo selves. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord, Ishtar. Oh, okay.
Oh, Ishtar.
Bro, Ishtar is Ishtar for sure.
Ishtar and Ereshkigal, they have some of the best dojins. And Mash has.
Hey, dude, do you know there's that one Ishtar one?
Yes, the best one.
Yeah,
the colored
only
one,
kind of good one.
Yeah.
Dude, that one's so
goated. Actually goated.
Actually so goated, and it's in color. It's so it's so goated.
The art is actually beautiful.
I'm sure there's some people listening to us. Like there's the duality of the anime fan right here is there's some people listening to us being, what the fuck are they talking about? And other people they're like, let's fucking go, let's go, because they know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Yeah, well, if you don't know, you will know eventually, especially after listening to this podcast.
True.
But anyway, so let's get right into it. Guiding question. What was your criteria for choosing some of these shows, Zuhair?
So my criteria for choosing these, it was just stuff that I liked. Like, I didn't pick like the best shows that I think that are the most objectively amazing shows that I've seen. Yeah, even though some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And
then we'll go ahead and put, if you guys do talk about spoilers, I'll go through and put a timestamp for you guys. If you want to avoid any spoilers, they talk about the show. I'll put a timestamp. You guys just skip, or I'll verbally cut in and say the timestamp if you're an audio only. So that way, if we do end up talking about a series and there are some spoilers, you don't have to get spoiled, because that is one thing that I don't like. No offense to Trash Taste. They do talk about shows sometimes and they forget that there are spoilers for stuff and they just say it anyway. And I'm an audio only because I like to put it on when I go to work. But if we do talk about spoilers for any of these, I'll put an audio timestamp and a visual timestamp so you can skip ahead to not listen, or we'll just preface it by saying, you guys should probably preface it by saying, hey, getting into spoilers real quick. But
Yeah,
blah, blah,
I'll
blah.
start doing that then for sure.
Just in case some people haven't watched the show and they want to know
Yeah.
about it, but they don't want to know the spoilers.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, Harry. You can go ahead and start. You can start in any order because we have them pulled up on screen, and I'll pull it up on the screen for you guys, anybody that's watching visually. If not, just go ahead and say the name of the show, and then you can keep going. So that way people know what it is.
Yeah.
So you can go in any order. You can go left to right. You can go random, bingo mode, whatever you want, right? All right. So just go ahead and go through your first pick since we did the criteria.
So my first pick is top left corner is Steins Gate.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's really nothing much more to say. If you've seen Steins Gate, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. The show is a banger.
I still need to watch Steins Gate. The only thing that
I'm
I
on
know about
episode
Steins Gate-
17. I haven't watched it in like 4 months.
Yo,
It's good. No, it's
what?
good, bro. It's just like
Nah,
yeah,
dude, this
me
show
and
is.
my cousin watched 17 episodes in one day, so I got completely burned out, but it was so good.
No,
That's
dude,
a grind.
y'all need to finish this show because
Yeah, I know.
I swear
We
it's
left on a huge
written
cliffhanger,
so well. It's like time travel. Like
Oh,
nobody's done
no,
time travel better. No one's
No,
done
that
it
is
better.
one thing. Oh, dude, the world. Oh, yeah. Spoiler.
Yeah,
World
'cause-
lines in
oh,
there
look,
are
look,
so cool.
I haven't watched it yet, so I'm gonna close my ears.
Yeah.
Oh snap!
The world
well, I
lines.
guess
are
I
cool.
kind of.
That's what I was
Yeah,
saying.
no, for
That's
sure.
what-
Like
but-
the stuff, like the way that they set up the world and like
Exactly.
it's just so good.
World
It's so
building,
good.
yeah.
The only thing I know about the show, because I assume you guys are done, is the girl that goes doo doo doo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, so cute.
Oh lord.
Yes. So Steins Gate. I guess if you were to, I guess what we can do for this too is, what would you give it out of 10? For like enjoyability, watchability. It's just so criteria, just overall,
so-
objectively and subjectively.
I
Like,
mean, objectively, I mean, it's not. I mean, I wouldn't say the show is perfect. I don't think there's very many things that are perfect in like the medium, right? But I'd say it's a 9 out of 10 though, for sure. Like that's what I would give it if I were to like give it a rating. Steins Gate is definitely a 9 out of 10. I don't know. I might be a little bit more generous with my ratings compared to some of the people out there.
well, I
I've
mean,
been
these
told
are
that
top
I'm a lot
picks,
more
though.
generous.
They're like- these are your top picks, so of
Yeah.
course they're gonna be nicer.
But yeah,
But
dude.
so anybody out there that wants
Fucking
to watch-
love Steins Gate. Fucking love Kurisu, bro. Okabe's character is so clean. I love how over the top he is.
that's
Like the whole mad scientist thing, it's so clean.
that's the dude with the lab coat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch Steins Gate. But it definitely seems like a really good show, and I only hear good things about Steins Gate, like
Yeah,
ever. Also, the girl kind of reminds me of Makima from Chainsaw Man,
A
The
little
red-
bit.
the redhead girl.
Yeah, a little
uh,
bit.
But anyway, your next pick.
My next pick is Gurren Lagann, which is another just straight banger.
Banger.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's so clean, dude. Like, it's just giant robots throwing galactic objects at each other. Like, come on, man. Like,
And
it's
Kamina, man.
so cool. And Kamina. Kamina is so clean. Also, Yoko.
Dude, the Yoko
Everybody.
Dojins are next level. I gotta say, Yoko Dojins are next level.
True.
I have
But
to
yes,
watch that.
Gurren Lagann is good. I haven't finished it yet, but I do know the final fight is like godly.
Oh, dude, it's so great. Like, it's like it's animated so well, and it does the whole like. Most of the time, I think the whole power of friendship or fighting spirit shit is super cheesy, but
But like the show is cheesy, so it doesn't.
this show
take
is
itself
cheesy,
serious.
and it just fits. It just
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, because some shows are cheesy, but it takes itself. It's like Naruto, for example, right? Which is your another pick on your list. I'll spoil it. Sorry.
Naruto slander will not be tolerated
But
around
no,
here.
fuck
Just
Naruto, man.
saying.
Naruto's fine, right? But like, for example, Naruto takes itself seriously, but it's really cheesy at points. Gurren Lagann doesn't take itself seriously, but it's really cheesy, and so it's like a nice balance between a show that doesn't take itself serious enough to where the cheesiness is like ridiculous, but it takes itself serious enough to where the show is enjoyable and it's not.
I mean, but there is still. That's not to say that the show's just goofy and there's dumb
No.
shit happening all the time.
No,
There's actually
yeah,
like
yeah.
a well-written plot, and the story and the characters themselves are like really fleshed out, and
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting. Like the main character arc is a really satisfying one to see.
And I mean, this was at the height of Studio Trigger, when they're doing all of their banger stuff. I mean, they still make good stuff now, but definitely this is a mid 2000s show. Studio Trigger really made some bangers in the mid 2000s. And they're coming out with, speaking of Studio Trigger, they're coming out with that new Star Wars anime, which I
saw that.
I'm hyped for. I'm hyped
looks
for.
exactly like Premiere.
Waifu Grievous.
Dude, Waifu Grievous. Yes, sir.
I saw that shit. That was clean.
That was pretty clean. But to go on to your next pick, I kind of already spoiled it, but why Naruto? Why Naruto?
Why Naruto? Dude, why not Naruto?
Dude, Naruto,
Okay, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. Naruto, okay, it has a lot of problems. It's not the best show. I know it's got some dumb shit going on. The whole last arc is really stupid, but I don't care, dude. I love this show so much. Like, it's like one of the first shows that I actually watched. Yeah, it's like probably like the first 10 shows that I've actually watched, right? And it's just so good. Like, if you watch this show and you take out all the fillers and you only get the high points back to back to back, dude, this show is so good. Like, people actually sleep. I know I sound like a little fanboy right now, but hey, dude, Naruto is dope. And I'm like, I like Naruto so much of the fact that I'm even like, I watch Boruto weekly. I suffer through that shit weekly.
Oh my god, man, you're the type.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, you can go because I'm about to clown on this man hard.
No, okay, dude. Boruto is definitely shit. Okay, but the last arc that just happened was actually really clean. There were some cool ass fight scenes. Also, there's nothing about Naruto. Has some of the best choreographed fight scenes like ever.
Yeah, okay, I will give you that.
Like they're just, the choreography is just so good.
Yeah, the choreography in the show is really good, and when its animation does pull through, it does look really good. Like I know for Boruto, everybody probably knows this fight if you're an anime fan. The Momoshiki Naruto and
it's
fight.
so good, dude.
Like that's pretty clean. I don't fuck with Boruto personally, and I don't fuck with Naruto personally. Naruto's okay, right? But like, I don't know. Naruto fans they're just like Dragon Ball fans, and I'm a Dragon Ball fan.
Nah, dude. I feel like it's like that for any of like the big shonen, except for like Bleach maybe, because I don't think anybody really likes Bleach. Sorry if you're a Bleach fan.
I know one person.
Damn, you just shit on
literally
all
the two people listening right now.
Bleach is okay. I haven't really finished it because it just gets fucking boring. But Bleach is kind of like, it's like Naruto's like little brother, because it's like everybody knows Naruto. A lot of people know Bleach, but nobody's actually watched Bleach. Just because it's so fucking boring.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Bleach though is some of the OSTs for Bleach are bangers.
Yeah, banger, definitely banger. And this is the same thing with Naruto. Naruto does have some good tracks, and I like the style it has for its OST. I just can't stand Naruto, man. It's just so fucking boring, and all of it's just full of filler. And like the characters are good, and then like they just die, or the characters are good and they're just like, I don't know. It just, some of the characters are good, some of the characters aren't. Some of the fights are good.
For sure. No, I get that.
So many highs and so many lows. And then the fucking Naruto X like Sasuke dojins are weird, and I'm not gonna lie, Naruto.
Whoa, dude, what? That's not something that I needed to know about right now.
No. I'm not a yaoi person, but I'm not gonna lie, Naruto kind of has some weak dojins. Their dojins are really weak, in my opinion.
Okay.
They're pretty weak. They're like low tier dojins. Gurren Lagann, top tier. I actually don't see any Steins Gate dojins, but two of your picks here.
Dude, I think I have a little bit of a problem with you if you're looking up dojins. You're trying to see Mayuri diluted, bro. I think we got some problems, bro. You got some problems.
I don't look up Steins Gate dojins, okay? They just, if they pop up on the feed, they pop up on the feed. But two of your choices, one of them in particular, I say has some of the best dojins I have ever seen. We'll get into that in a second because it's one of your choices. I'm gonna let you guys try and figure out which one it is. One of your choices has some god tier dojins. But let's go ahead and go on to your next pick.
So my next pick is Origairu, or My Teen Romantic Comedy is Wrong as Expected. I don't know what the English name is.
Snafu, I think it's
Snafu, Origairu. I don't know. Whatever you call it, dude. I love this show so much. This is like my favorite rom-com that I've ever seen, ever. Yukino Has My Heart. Dude.
Which one's Yukino? Because I haven't had
No
one.
fan.
She's the one in the middle.
Yeah.
That's a dude, isn't it?
She's
Nah.
got black hair.
She got black hair. Yeah, Yukino Has My Heart, dude. Yeah, no, this show it's really cool because I think it's a lot different than a lot of the other rom-coms that I've seen, where it's like a lot more mature. And basically, it's like these two guys. It's like a story about a group of people who are very like emotionally inept, I would say. They're like, they don't know how the fuck to feel about things, or like, you know, what's going on with them. And it's not like dumb emotional ineptness like most anime have, like where it's like, oh, the
There's
character
dense.
yeah where there's just dense. It's not really like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like
they have
Kill.
like it's like they have real issues, right? And they like work through them, and like they learn and they get better, all that kind of stuff. Also, Hachiman, the main character, kind of resonated with me a little bit because basically, I'm not saying I'm a loser. I guess I am. I mean, I guess I am saying I'm a loser, but like,
Well, I mean, if
like,
you watch anime, you're a loser. So.
yeah, he's basically like this super loner to the point where he's such a loner to the point where he's narcissistic about his loneliness, where he sees him as like above everyone else around him who's like, you know, being younger and enjoying their youth. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how much. Yeah. So it kind of just resonated with me personally because it's like, I mean, not saying that I'm such a loner that I feel that I'm above people, but like I get the vibes that he puts out where it's like, dude, why the fuck are you so happy 8 o'clock in the morning? Like, shut the fuck up and sit down and get ready for life, you know?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Respect,
Like,
yes.
That's so yeah, I don't know. Just Hashima just really resonated with me as a person, and also Yukino is just
Top tier.
top tier. Yeah, top tier.
All right. Well, let's get on to some of your next picks.
So my next one, and this is my favorite anime of all time.
Damn.
Just bar none. Code Geass.
Code
My
Geass. is
favorite
such
of
a
all
banger.
time.
Such a good show.
So good.
Such a good show.
If you haven't watched Code Geass has okay. So for me, Code Geass is a really, really good show. I really like it. I know some people have issues with it.
Yeah, there's some problems in the writing, I would say. In like the end of season 1, start of season 2, there's like some dumb shit that happens.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I know what you're talking about. I'm not gonna say it just for spoiler reasons, but yeah, it was kind of weird because it just kind of happened, and then they needed to continue the series, and that's how they made it continue.
Yeah, and then like the thing about it is like they introduced this really cool thing about how his like damn, I don't want to say it, but like
How his thing works.
how his thing works, right? But then at the start of season 2, they just completely get rid of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, this could have been an interesting plot point if y'all actually expanded on it. But despite that,
It's
the
good.
show
and
is
the end,
so good.
the ending.
I think,
The ending.
yeah, the ending has one of the best endings ever. And I think the reason why I like this show so much is because, like, around this time, I was watching a lot of shows where, like, the main characters are just, like, kind of like Naruto, like wet paper bags, no real personality. They're just really kind, like the Tanjiros of the world. They're just really kind, you know? They really don't have personality. So it was so refreshing to see, like, a character that's human and selfish, you know, who has pride, arrogance.
Yeah, well,
You know
it kind of
what I'm saying?
reminds me of to put it for anybody who hasn't watched Code Geass, a more like a show that I could kind of relate it to would be Death Note, in the sense of the protagonists are similar in some of the stuff that they do and their mentality. The show itself is kind of, it's not as puzzly as Death Note, but it is as complex as Death Note. There's a lot of moving parts you have to pay attention to in the show. And then there also isn't. It's not as complicated as Death Note, but Death Note would probably be the closest show in terms of the writing. It would be the closest I can think of. So Lelouch is the name of the guy.
Dude, Lelouch's character is just
Too cool.
so cool, and it's so human and it's so complex. Like, it's not like a, I don't know. I just like it so much. Anyway,
Yeah. Your next pick, which
My next
overlapped
pick.
with one of mine, kind of.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
let's just go ahead.
The next pick, I put Bunny Girl Senpai.
Definitely good.
Really great show. Characters have really great chemistry. I mean,
It's just a
the
good
show
show.
is great.
overall.
The show is just great. I don't know if there's much to say about it. I mean, if you've seen the show, then you know the show is just great.
Yeah, the show is
Yeah.
good, and don't let the name put you off because the show is what is it? Seishun wa Butoyaro something, right? But
Yeah,
it's in English. It's Bunny,
some.
Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl, Rascal. Yeah, I think it's Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl. Don't let the name put you off and the logo because it's gonna have a picture of Mai Sakurajima in a Bunny Girl costume. The Bunny Girl aspect of the
Fire.
show makes up like 1% of the 99. The rest of the show, without spoiling anything, if you've ever watched Haruhi, which I don't know if you haven't watched this show, you probably haven't watched Haruhi. But the show is kind of the same. There's supernatural stuff happening, and I don't mean ghosts. I mean like other stuff. It's a lot smarter of a show than you think it's gonna be, because they talk about a lot of interesting like philosophical.
Dude, yeah, the philosophical stuff is cool, but the pseudoscience bullshit is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean some of it is bullshit. I'll admit, but some of the because I like quantum physics, and they deal with some concepts of theories of quantum physics. Some of the quantum physics in the show does check out. Like one of them is Schrodinger's cat, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it's like grounded in like reality and facts, but it's still
But
bullshit.
it's still anime, so
But
it's
it's still good. It's good.
But the show is good. Definitely worth the watch. It's not really a harem. You'll see a lot of girls. All of them are really good. I like all of them. The soundtrack.
That's debatable.
What do you mean debatable? They're all pretty good.
Honestly, there's
Oh, pretty good.
it's literally just Futaba and Mai, and that's it. Nobody
No,
comes
you're
close.
definitely trolling. You're definitely
No,
trolling.
dude.
Like
Nobody
Haide,
comes
and
close.
then Tome. What about?
Yeah, Tomoe Koga and
Dude, I swear. Like I rewatched the show not too long ago, dude, and I just skipped Koga's arc. Like,
Oh
I,
my!
I don't
God,
fuck with
bro.
Koga. Sorry,
that is-
fight me. I don't fuck with
Dude,
Koga.
that's an attack right at my fucking heart, man. I
'cause
should
that's his
beat
tongue
your ass for
hurt.
that shit. God, don't ever
got the
speak
short
like
hair
that.
and
Don't open your mouth and talk about Koga like that ever again.
Okay,
No,
dude.
no, no.
Okay.
No, no.
She not that clean, bro.
Dude,
Yeah.
whatever. The show is good. You should watch it. That's it. Next pick.
Next pick. So next pick I have Haikyuu.
Wow, so close.
The show is so good.
Indeed.
It's like, I mean, it's just cool. I mean,
I didn't even know volleyball was like a thing. Like volleyball was literally not even on my radar, right? Like men's volleyball. And I watched this show and I'm like, wow, volleyball's clean as fuck.
You ever played?
Have I ever played? Nah, I've never
It's
played.
so much fun, and especially
Yeah,
after
I
watching that show,
played
it
with
makes
you,
it.
Shady.
Yeah.
We would play, and
Mhm.
that was fun. Volleyball's
It was
pretty fun.
fun.
I haven't watched
Yeah.
Haikyuu yet, but it
It
looks
makes
good.
it
I
so
just
much more
enjoyed
fun, man. Let me tell you that. It's crazy.
I need to play though. I need to. Like I've been wanting
great.
to.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get some friends to sign up for intramural teams, so maybe we'll see what happens. But anyway,
Yeah.
Haikyuu is dope. Like this show is so good.
I've heard good things about it. I definitely want to watch it because there's very few sports animes that actually do sports well, and I've heard that this anime, as unrealistic as some of the stuff they do, is nice.
I mean,
It's-
I don't even think so. I don't even think a lot of the stuff they do is
No, it's
unrealistic.
just they
It's
over
actually,
dramatic. They just
yeah.
make it
No.
really accurate.
Well-
But the stuff they do is pretty accurate.
yeah.
Well, my bad. Guess
It's
I
not
don't.
like on some Kuroko type shit where
Yeah.
people are fucking shooting laser beams out of their hands. Even though I love Kuroko too. I mean, I just like sports anime. I haven't seen a lot of sports anime, but
Yeah.
sports anime are enjoyable.
Mhm.
I like them. So
Oh.
yeah.
Your next pick, I can't see the image well enough, but you guys
So,
will on screen.
I actually
but
don't know what that is at all.
Yeah. I
Okay,
don't know
so
what-
this next pick it's called The King's Avatar.
It's a Chinese show
Oh.
based on a Chinese web novel, and basically it's about it's an esports anime, dude. It's
Wow.
fucking dope.
Wow.
So like I
That's
play a lot of games and stuff, right? And so I also watch a lot of esports.
Yeah,
So,
you're
like,
you're
the
on that
show was,
league.
like-
You're on that league BS, man.
Yeah,
Oh, he's a
I'll be
League
playing
player?
League. I'll be playing League sometimes, and I play a little bit of Valorant sometimes.
Oh, you
but-
play Valorant? Oh,
Yeah,
I
I haven't
play a
played
lot
in a
of
little while. I haven't played in a little while, but
Oh,
I play a little bit.
a lot of Valorant.
Yeah. League sucks, man. It's just a point and click visual novel. That's all.
Okay, dude. This guy.
No,
I mean,
I
I
don't
don't know.
Any League player I've ever talked to said that League fucking sucks, and they know it.
Yeah, you
They
know
like,
Andrew's a
dude,
League player, right?
I mean, but like that's the thing about League players is that they make hating League their like personality trait, which I don't understand. But like more power to you, dude. Have fun. Anyway, that's besides the point. This show, I'm not gonna lie to you. This show is kind of trash. Like the first season is like a lot of like basically the premise of the show is like basically this guy, he's like Faker, right? If y'all don't know who Faker is, he's like the best player in his league, right? But he gets dropped by his org because orgs are toxic. So his organization drops him, and he's like they force him to retire. And so now he has to like start from zero and like grind back up, get a character, find a team, grind back up. And it's basically just a story of him coming back, right?
Yeah.
So far, like there's 2 seasons. And please go support the seasons. They're on the Tencent YouTube channel. I know I'm shilling for Tencent right now, but fuck it, dude. I need a season 3 of this. I think season 3 has been confirmed. I think season 3 has been confirmed, so please go support the original release. Anyway.
Oh, you're a British series looking ass. Oh my god. The following is a fan base non-profit parody.
No, but for real, this show is like, it's kind of trash. The first season is just a bunch of grinding. It's like MMO, like the game that they play is like an MMO, life. Right? It's like World of Warcraft type MMO type isekai type game world type shit, right? So they do a lot of grinding, a lot of isekai dumb stuff, game world dumb stuff. And then that second season, there's also a lot of grinding. But towards the end of the second season, the last couple episodes, the OVAs and the movie, there's like a lot of esports stuff happening, right? Like you get introduced to the teams. There's a lot of esports stuff happening. It's really exciting because the esports stuff is really cool. I just really like esports stuff. So
I can tell.
I really like this show. Even
all
if
right.
it's not the best, but yeah.
Yeah. We can move on to your last pick. This will close us out for your 3x3.
So my last pick, this is a show called Dororo.
Dororo.
I really like this show a lot. It's like it's in like that time period, like the whole ninja samurai type, the whole samurai type time period. Yeah, like the whole Edo period shit. It is like I just really think that's a really interesting time period in and of itself. Yeah. And the main character Hyakimaru is like really cool. I mean, it's kind of like I know I saw one of y'all has Violet Evergarden, but like he's kind of like a Violet Evergarden type character, but
oh, like the,
I like
kind
his
of
like emo mode,
like a emotionless.
He's
or
been
like,
through a lot.
Yeah, he's been through a lot. A lot of shit happens to him, right? But the premise of the show is really interesting, and though it can get kind of like repetitive, like monster of the week. Oh, we kill this monster of the week, or we kill this monster of the week.
Yeah.
I still think like the character arcs in this show are like really, really good, and the animation gets kind of weird for a little bit. But
I was gonna say something.
The animation gets kind of scuffed for a little bit. I just really like Hyakimaru's character, and I think like the way he grows is really interesting. So like if you like Violet Evergarden, like if you like Violet as a character, then I think you'll like Hyakimaru as well.
Oh, also,
the music was also really good. Sorry.
Zach, I'll cut that out. I'm gonna cut this part out. Just for you guys. Zach, did you know that the person who voices Violet from Violet Evergarden voices Liskarm and Mikasa?
Really?
So Liskarm from Arknights. Yeah. She's voiced by the same person that does Mikasa and Isn't that kind of cool? And
I did not know that.
The person that voices Diavolo voices Silver Ash. The person that voices what's her name? Perfumer voices Megumin. The person.
Oh my goodness! Okay, I knew that. Yeah, because it would say Ray something.
Ray Takahashi. Yeah.
Ray Takahashi.
Isn't that kind of cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
There's a lot
of people, bro.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good voice actors. But anyway, we can get back into the show. So before this whole segment's gonna be cut out. Do you want to go next, or do you want me to go next?
I can go next. I do not mind.
Okay. So 5, 4, 3, 2. Well, yeah, that was I haven't actually watched Dororo. I was gonna say Dorohedoro, but I haven't watched Dororo. But It seems like a good show. I remember when it came out, but so that will
The
conclude.
first opening.
It's
was crazy.
Demon Slayer but better.
I see.
Fight me.
Well, I don't know. The
I mean,
Demon Slayer
it's kind
animation-
of hard to win against that animation on Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I was about to say. the
Yeah,
animation-
dude. I don't give a damn about your wet paper bags.
I mean,
Anyway,
yeah.
So that's your 3x3. As you can tell, he's got he's got some taste, you know. Yeah, I give you props for some of them. Just kidding. I'm just clowning on you, but no, some pretty good taste. So that's kind of get you to know kind of his taste for anime. I like your choices. Pretty good choices. A lot of our choices for you guys.
Like 1, 2,
I agree with a lot of them. They're really
5,
good.
6. Yeah, I agree out of 6. Or because I haven't watched really.
Yeah.
of
But
them.
yeah, good taste. Glad. Good job. Next we can move on to Shady. You can go ahead and do
All right.
your list. You can do it in the same order he did, going left to right, or you can do
Yeah,
it in
I'll
sporadic.
probably do that.
Okay.
So the first one
Okay.
is Made in Abyss, and kind of
Mhm.
funny how I got into this one, or like really all these animes. I might be looking into it too deep, but I feel like they all have meaning that to watch them, because a lot of them, at least for me, if it wasn't for Made in Abyss, I don't think I would ever be into music as much as I am, because I didn't think music could get this good. I guess that's
Yeah.
what I'm.
Because
but where I'm-
I know you've talked to me about how good the soundtrack is,
Oh,
and,
it's just
but I do know the manga does get a bit.
yes. So there's a lot of bad. The author is not a. I do not support. I mean, I love his work, but I don't support that man. Especially in his morals. His morals are definitely. Or he just like.
Yeah, it's like when you go on to end. It's when you go on to the good old end, and you find those tags. It's like snuff, gore. You know,
God damn.
it's
it's like not only
yeah.
that, he's just like. He just like
Yeah, no, I
like
get you though.
younger.
It's like,
yeah, younger the just below the age
yeah,
limit.
just.
And he likes to, yeah. But so besides that, Made in Abyss, how I even got into that was actually for when I started watching Giguk, and he said
Oh, yeah.
he made this video saying like if you like I don't know if it's I'm pretty sure it's still there. If I look it up, actually, let me see. Made in Abyss Giguk. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the title. Yeah, best anime of 2017.
Oh,
And I was like, let's see about this, because that's when I kind of started like actually like watching seasonals, and I'm like, if I'm missing out on the best anime, then that's just not good. And so I watched it, and he sold it to me. He was like, he showed this one scene from the underground river, and it was just absolutely stunning. I did not think something could be like that, and then watching it just got me hooked on like the first episode. Such a good plot line, and then obviously like now like anybody who's currently up to date on the movies, I don't read the manga. I might read the manga, but at the same time I don't really want to, because I heard many crazy things in there. So,
yeah, I've seen a couple of the scenes on.
so they said a lot of people say stay away from it because it really would just like make you dislike the series. So then I'm like, I don't want that to happen. So
yeah.
But
By the way,
caught
Giguk,
up on the. Oh yeah, what's
Giguk,
up?
he's a good YouTuber. If you're
Oh,
if
he
you're
is.
listening to this, Giguk, we love you, man.
Yeah, you are a good YouTuber, man.
Thank you for being one of the best anime YouTubers. I remember when you were Anime Zone a long time ago.
Yeah, you were a fan for a bit, then I was.
For a
like,
bit.
It was like 2017 when I started watching him. But
He made good videos, but this isn't Giguk the fan base, the fangirls, the podcast. So we can go ahead and move on to your next pick, which I need to watch, and I gotta say, have some
True.
of the coolest weapons I've
This is on my list.
No,
I'm gonna get to this.
if you guys haven't watched it, you guys just need to. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the other ones that come after this make me want to punch a hole through a wall, because it is so bad, and it makes. But I love the. Okay, so the only reason I'd even watch them is because of the characters, but then it's just they make me upset how they.
Yeah,
it
that's
just makes me
always a
upset,
shame.
bro.
When
Yeah,
the
and so-
other form of media for a show is some that dog shit. Like that's such a defeating feeling.
And like, but they try to some of it's like pretty cool because they try to keep the same thing, but it's so hard because sometimes they're just repeating stories, and I don't even know who they're fighting anymore, bro. Like it is just so annoying. But then first season, oh man, absolutely goated. Probably one of the best villains I have ever seen in an anime. Like easily one of the best, and such a good for the main character, which is the girl. I forget her name. I don't remember her name. Let me just click on it.
I'll put it on screen.
Akane, I think, or Akane. Susumori. And then she was just had such a good development, just such and then one of my other favorite characters, Kogiyami, he was such a cool, and they just it was cool. You just gotta watch it. And this, oh man, the music, they had an English, I think it was the second one. Yeah, the second opening was English, and it's so nice with the
Banger.
it was so nice with the because the guy was singing it was Japanese, but he was singing it just so well, and it was just so beautiful. So I got me some Japanese rock. So
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I totally forgot to mention the openings. Of
Dororo. I was gonna say something. I love the first opening.
Oh yeah. That's
Dororo
fire.
opening good, Bunny Girl
Absolute
Senpai
fire.
good, Annie
Oh,
Code
yeah.
Geass song good.
Oh yeah, Code Geass. Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah.
Serario Days.
Haiku has good openings. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Serario Days. You can't that's like a peak of like music
Indeed.
right there. Serario
Yeah.
Days is so good. The Gurren Lagann opening. The other ones I don't know the openings to. Naruto, so many openings.
Bro, Steins Gate's
there's
opening
some-
also fire. Anyway,
yeah,
anyway.
Steins-
Sorry to take away from your thing, bro.
No, it's all good. I love music.
Yeah, Psychopath seems like a really cool show, and
Oh,
the
so
guns,
cool.
the guns are cool.
Oh, so cool. I want to buy a model. I want those like
I
models,
know.
but
They
I want to
flip
get the
and
money.
roll lights.
Yeah, they're so clean. But
Yeah, no, I definitely need to get to this show.
yeah, it is good. It is very
All right,
good.
so your next one. I know
Yeah, next
you're
one,
telling us
yeah.
off screen that it was you specifically chose this one.
Yeah, I
Uh,
specifically, but in reality, the whole entire like Garden of Sinners, like that. So it's a bunch of movies. It's 10 movies. They're not like all like 2 hours long. Some of them are pretty long. There's a main 7, or is it main 7 or 8? It's like 7 or 8 where it's like a full story, and then like the last 2 are kind of like epilogues, and then like a cute little cat story, which is really nice. But
This is an extension of the Fate series, correct?
so yes, this
Yeah.
is still in the like the forget what I call it, the Fate verse. They call it
it's
something
called
else.
The
The
Nasu
Nano
verse.
Yeah, Natsu verse or something like that. Yeah. And so it's in that genre, or it's in that obviously that universe. It's actually funny. In one of the Fate movies, you actually see one of the characters from Garden of Sinners, and so it's
they're,
actually pretty cool. Well, yeah, but so you know what the crazy thing is? So our my Fate fan, or Fate friend, Ethan. I mean, still my friend, but I don't even call him a Fate fan, but he's hardcore Fate fan. And we were watching the movie. I was sitting there. I enjoyed that movie, and he was sitting there just like not calculating, but he was like matching all the faces like with and he figured out. He went to like the one scene, and you could barely see it's a hood of a person, and he was like, that is her. And I looked it up, and it was the girl from
God
Berserk.
damn.
I know. And so I'm like,
the
how'd you notice that?
fuck?
He's like, well, you just like, it's like, do you not remember? I'm like, what do you mean, do you not remember? He's like, on the last like movie, or like I think it was the 8th or 7th one, and he like, it made like, so it just like, it made a lot of sense.
Damn.
It was in one of her this person has a workshop, and in the movie they visited that workshop, and then he showed me the similarities, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, bruh. Crazy.
Yeah.
But it was cool. And so like that, but besides that, Garden of Sinners, super crazy fights and I think this is where like people don't give like Ufotable now.
Yeah.
You know, they're great, but like this was
Goated.
like 2008, 2007,
Damn.
and
that's
they did such an amazing job.
Yeah,
like,
I've
with
seen some of the fight scenes from this show, and
Oh,
they're wild.
Yeah, and Shiki is such a good character, and like her supporting or like the other roles that are in there, and just like how they, they talk quite a bit in these shows, or at least in the movies, and it's just so nice, like the dialogue in them. But let's see.
Yeah.
The reason why I like the 5th one, it had like such a what was it? I'm trying to think. Let me like look at it again. Oh yeah, it had one of these just nice fight scenes, and then it just like, I don't know, it ended so well, and then it just kind of like, just because like, wow man, it had this one villain, he was just too clean.
Too
And
clean.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Nah, you're
It's
good.
been so
you're
long.
good. But yeah, it looks like a good series. I
No,
wanna
yeah,
get
Garden
around.
Centers definitely should watch. You can.
All right, and then your next pick, which is, I'm not gonna lie, watched the show pretty recently. Definitely one of the cleanest shows I've ever watched.
Easily. And oh man, I want them to continue it so bad, but I
know.
doubt it ever coming.
So, since for those who don't know what we're talking about, if you're not on screen, audio only, we're talking about Hunter x Hunter.
Oh yeah, Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter, really goated show. The only show where I can listen to the exact same fucking opening
Yep.
148 times and never get tired of it.
True.
Never get tired of it.
Dude, and the endings, some of the endings in the show
Oh
are
man, they're
great.
crazy.
Endings are so, especially the Chimera Ant arc endings are so
Indeed.
fire.
Oh,
and
right.
it's not just hunting for your dream. Hunting
Oh,
for your
man.
dream.
Oh, Hunting for yeah, for sure.
Every time I heard that ending this is for the Phantom Troop arc. Every time I heard that ending, I felt a wave of testosterone and just like energy, like adrenaline just pumped through my body. I'm like, I got it.
I love that the New York one, Phantom Troop arc. Dude, I love that
Oh
arc
no,
so
yeah,
much.
thank you. Oh, I was about to talk to. I was going to talk about
Yeah.
arcs, and I was going to. Everybody's, Chimera arc is good. Don't get me wrong, but the
Yeah.
Phantom trope, I absolutely loved it.
It's the
They
best
did-
arc. I say this
Yeah.
every time. It's the
Thank
best
you.
arc.
I actually can't agree with that. I absolutely love that arc. And
I love the York New arc. Yes, it's really, really good because the Phantom Troop is really good. I like that it
So
focuses
good.
on Kurapika. Kurapika is a great character.
Mhm.
Kurapika
brought a
putting people
shovel.
in body bags, dude.
And
He brought a fucking shovel to his own fight. No one whooped that motherfucker. Like that's what's crazy.
Indeed.
Kurapika is such a goated character, and I like this arc because it is where the show starts to get a bit more serious. I don't like the next arc, the Greed Island arc. It's just. I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
it was all right.
It was okay. It was mid for Hunter x Hunter, but yes, the New York New arc is really good. And what I like about it is the Phantom Troop aren't just your run of the mill like Akatsuki basically.
Oh,
They're
no.
not like Akatsuki,
Yeah,
where the Akatsuki's just bad guys in paper bags. Some of them to just be paper bags. Even then, Pain kind of it was okay, and I think he was their most developed. Besides Itachi,
Yeah.
most developed.
yeah. No, for
But
sure.
the Phantom Troop, all of their characters, and you get to see a lot more of them later in the series as well. They're just people, They're not good people, but they're people,
Mhm.
and that's what I like about it is the Phantom Troop. They feel like people. They don't just feel like
Yeah.
villains to be villains. And they're bad, but they do a lot of
They
bad.
just, they're
just- Yeah, it's just the world that they live in. But the Phantom
Mhm.
Troop arc is really good, especially if the only thing you like about the series is the fights. This series, this arc has some insane fights. The Kurapika fight with Uvogin is really good, and then the fight where they're just I guess it's not really a fight, but the Requiem part. He goes, "I dedicate this Requiem to you." Uvogin. That part is so good, and the music in the show. I know you love music. The music in the show is next level.
Yeah.
And that
Kingdom
brings-
of Predators.
Huh? Oh my god, that was just about to say. This arc is goated, and the Chimera Ant arc is goated. Personally, like these boys, I like the Chimera Ant arc the most.
Mhm.
I don't really like the middle bits when they're training to go to NGL because it's really boring. But the beginning, you notice
Dude.
immediately tone
Bro,
shift.
it's-
Just immediately, like it's
Yeah,
just
it's
it's a
crazy.
completely different arc. At this
Oh
point,
man,
the Chimera Ant arc and the Phantom Troop. The Phantom Troop fits within the story, and it's a little bit more lighthearted. But the Chimera Ant arc I like because it takes a shonen show and flips it on its head. Because then their conventional shonen tropes, you notice immediately from the first episode that this tonally is completely different from the rest of the show. And that's why I like the arc because it in my opinion, the York New arc is really good because the characters are awesome. The fights are good, right? But in terms of the writing, the last part of the Chimera Ant arc, in my opinion, has some of the best writing for characters I've ever seen in a show. Villain for the show, in my opinion, is probably the most well-written villain. Like truly, well, I don't want to say villain, but one of the most well-written antagonists in a show I have ever seen. Because without spoiling anything, you take a character that is a really bad guy and turn him into a character that just flips this arc sort of deconstructs, and I don't want to use big words and sound pretentious for anime specifically, but it deconstructs the shonen trope so well that it's just amazing. And the fights in this arc, York New arc had some really good fights, but the Meruem and Netero fight, the Gon and Pito fight, next level, and then Killua activating his ability. So clean. And the only thing that I do have to criticize the Chimera Ant arc for is the pacing. The pacing will either go really fast or it'll go really slow.
Oh man, remember them on the stairs?
Oh my god.
Dude, they're on the
damn.
stairs for like 10
Yeah,
episodes.
dude, that's
Fucking
crazy, and it's like 30
fucking
seconds.
seconds. That's the same way I felt watching the Haruhi. And that's the same fucking episode over and over and over again. And they're showing different stuff for these 10 episodes in Hunter x Hunter, but it still felt the same way for that damn Endless 8. Oh my god. But definitely the payoff after that is next level. The show, in my opinion, I would have put this on my list, and I'll explain why I didn't, because I figured one of you guys would put it on there. This is my main reason. But this show is so good, and is definitely worth the watch for anybody that is looking for just a good shonen. It is an example of a shonen done really well, and in some moments it's not even a shonen. Like, a lot of the stuff that they tackle is really interesting. But the Chimera Ant arc, in my opinion, is I don't want to say a lot better. It's better to me, some bits of it, because the highs are really high. Because like the York New arc is consistent the whole time. It's always good. But the Chimera Ant arc is like really, really high highs and like kind of mid lows. But it's definitely a great show. Yeah. But to piggyback what you were saying about them finishing the series, I don't know if they will. I think they're currently only.
I got stupid spoilers, bro. Because of playing Valorant, and there was somebody on the other team that had a Hunter x Hunter name, and I just said nice Hunter x Hunter name, and then you just spoiled. And it was like chapter. It was stupid because they were like
some of the new chapters about the dark.
Because there was like
right?
dark. That's exactly.
Dude, I've heard about this dark content. How like they just introduced this huge new concept and then nothing.
Well, yeah, because I read ahead of it, and the introduction into the dark continent. It's a good chapter, but so far they really haven't explored. It's supposed to focus on Kurapika because of what happens in the show, and then Kurapika takes the focus for this arc. But it really hasn't gone anywhere. But gone. What a little play on words there. But
I get it.
but yes, the show is really good. Definitely worth the watch. One of the best shows that I've watched. I would probably rate it almost the same as one of the shows on your list later, because that show is also an example of a good deconstruction of a shonen, and just good writing, like writing at its finest. But your next show, I haven't heard of this show personally, so go ahead and tell us the name.
Yeah, big thing. It is not it's not a show, and I don't know if this would beat the criteria. It's a manga only.
It's fine.
It's so small. Okay, but it's called The Bones of an Invisible Person. Basis of the story is that this girl ends up becoming invisible, and it does it because, from what my understanding and from kind of rereading it and just remembering the facts, she has a lot of emotional issues, and there's a lot of emotional things in her family, and she just doesn't have a perfect family. But she's also just not social, and so it kind of uses this, I guess you can call it like I don't know, I assume it's kind of like a Japanese like tale where you just like end up hating yourself and your life so much that you eventually just become invisible. And so that was kind of the thing that she would go through and throughout the story. But it was like, it had that as like a basis of like where it would be kind of like a supernatural, but in reality it was just kind of like a soft tragedy love. I honestly didn't remember this, but now I'm remembering it's kind of a soft Yuri, because she ends up, because I thought it was just a friendship, me being the good old person. I just thought that was a friendship, and eventually you read more into it. It's that they eventually, or not eventually, it was a more deep friendship than that. It was more like into the actual like love you.
Do you know do you know if it's finished?
It is finished. How it ended was just like, dang, it's over.
And if you want to read this, guys, any of these shows, if you want to watch them,
Indeed.
I'll put a link to Crunchyroll or Funimation or whatever if you don't have an account. I'm not gonna say it, but you know where to look. But I'll put links to the manga or the MAL pages of these shows.
Please support the official release.
Oh my goodness. Yes, please support the official release, but I do understand sometimes if you can't. I'll put a link to the MALs for these, which is, if you don't know, my anime list. I'll put the MAL pages in the description. So if you're an audio only, just check us out on YouTube. I'll put this at the beginning, our YouTube channel. But for right now, if you're in the middle of the podcast or the YouTube channel that I'll be uploading the videos for, the VODs, I guess, I don't know what it's called, is Wanpankun. It's my username, WANPANKUN. I'll put the VODs. They have edited videos and little nice animations on screen. But I'll put the pages for all of these in the description, so you'll be able to see. And especially this manga, I'll put a link to read this manga because I personally do want to read it, so I'm going to look it up anyway. Because it does sound interesting. Do you know how many chapters it is?
It's only it's pretty small. 22, I think.
22 chapters? That's it?
Dude. Yep,
Dang,
it's not that long. That's why it's like,
yeah.
well, because like if you try to continue it wouldn't make any sense. It just cleared up everything that she really needed to clear up. And
that's true.
So
that's true.
it was like, you don't want to be, you just don't want to make it last any longer. So
Yeah.
it was pretty good. Definitely who carries it is like the side character. She was like my favorite, but I don't know. During the time when I also read this, it was like in like the peak of like I guess COVID, and so I was just like, bro, I just need something. And so when I was reading this thing affected me a lot emotionally because it was just beautiful. The art is like, I think it is really good for what it is, for what the author. I don't know if this guy actually created any more. I could be wrong though. He should, if he created such a banger, but honestly don't know because it's just very small. Let's see. No, this was really his only one. So.
Huh. Well, definitely
But
go
he
give
is-
that a read. I'm gonna go give
yeah.
it a read, especially since it's so short.
Indeed,
But
it is
Zuhair
a-
mentioned one of these. Your next choice on his.
Oh, dude, I'm excited to talk about this next one because I
Go
have a
ahead.
very strong opinion about this show.
Oh,
I
you
have
do?
one
I have
opinion.
a strong opinion too on this.
But
It is.
go ahead, get right into it. Go ahead and say the name and then just jump
So this
right
is
in.
Violet Evergarden. I also love the movie and the little special that they came out with on like Netflix. Very beautiful. Each episode of this like series has such a good story to tell, and it also keeps
Yeah.
on to the main plot line.
Yeah.
Which I mean you'll figure out in the first episode. I won't talk too much about it because then I'd get into. But there was like episode 7 or 8 that affected me so
Dude, it's
much.
bro. It's episode 10, bro. It's
Is
the
it
best.
episode?
Dude, it's
which
the one with the
which one
little
is
girl
that
there.
about?
It's the one with the
Oh
little girl.
yes.
Dude,
this
it's
is
the
one
best.
with the.
I'm telling you,
yeah.
dude. This is
That-
the best anime episode that's ever been made.
Yeah.
The best
episode
singular
10.
episode ever. It's so good, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my god.
It has affected me. That episode right there, I remember it was because that was when me and my sister used to watch animes together. We watched that, and me and her never cried.
Dude,
And like
oh, I
an
swear,
anime
dude.
like that. That was easily probably the most beautiful, like just beautifully written, and just how it just ended, and it just kept going, and then it was just, and the soundtrack. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's so
Oh.
good, dude.
Oh man, it's like over. I forget what it's called. It's like over the river or something, and it was just like when she would. Oh man, just take the umbrella and then fly across, because then there would just be this beautiful soundtrack behind it, and the world. Oh my goodness, oh man, no wait, Kyoto Animations, right? They created this,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That was before, sadly, the tragic accident, and they did
Yeah.
lose a lot of their Violet I think that was for the movie too. That's why they had to get it delayed.
Dang,
But I mean,
that's-
they're still doing a great job. They still do a great job. But like this was pre that, and it was beautiful. It was
Yeah.
so beautiful. But,
Definitely.
Yeah, no, this
Yeah.
this show is great, and
Mhm.
but the thing I don't like about this show is that personally I don't really care about Violet that much. That's what I
Really?
just felt when I was watching the show. I
Interesting.
personally I don't really think that I cared that much about Violet. I think the way that Violet was like really good for the stories around her, right? Because she's like that blank slate, or like
Yeah.
or like that prism, where like the light shines with the prism, and like the story is just more beautiful because of like how much of a blank slate she is.
Yeah.
But I personally, I mean, her backstory is sad as fuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then, like that last couple arcs where they get more into her story,
Yeah.
I didn't really care for that too much. But
Interesting.
I will say, the episodic type mess, and
Mhm.
especially that one episode with the little girl and the mother. Oh
Yeah,
my
no,
gosh,
that
dude.
was-
Oh my
Oh
gosh,
my
dude.
goodness. That was a rough one for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I liked it because she was trying to learn about like love, and I was
Yeah,
another
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
time for me. But I enjoyed talking about, especially
Wow.
like different types of love. So it was
Definitely pretty intense opinions over here.
No, I swear,
Yeah,
no, dude. This show,
it's-
like, I've never cried so much
Yeah,
in my life watching this
agreed.
show, dude. Like, honestly.
It's
Damn.
just too beautiful. It was it's a different type. But I guess
But-
it's the next one.
Yeah, the next one.
This
Uh,
is Attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Attack
Yeah,
on
it's a good show.
Uh,
I love this show. I
Indeed.
I know it's your turn to speak. Let me say one thing.
No, you're good.
I binged the entirety of Attack on Titan in 2 days.
No way.
Yes.
That's actually crazy.
That's like
right?
that's like 200 episodes or something, or not. Well, I don't know. It's like
No,
100,
it's-
right?
It's like
It's
100.
Oh, is it 100?
It's like 2.5 days because I stayed up pretty much all night to watch these episodes.
Jeez.
I finished all of season 4 in one night. I grinded the hell out of this show because it is so good. And so I actually
It
want
is
to hear
good.
what you have to say about it and why in particular. I think this is season 3 part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Masterpiece.
Masterpiece. Definitely one of the best seasons,
Yes,
like-
easily.
parts of a season that they have.
Oh, yeah.
So go over why you chose this show and
So,
particularly why this part, because I know
All
why
right.
I would choose it, but
yeah, I got my reasons too, but I remember when I first watched this show, I've probably rewatched this show 3 times. Mostly, I watched the first season 4 times just because I remember. So when I first watched it was like 6th grade. I remember I watched it and I was sitting there. I didn't understand how like TV shows like came out. So I remember every single day I would check Netflix, waiting for it to be updated, just waiting. Because I remember I got left because after season 1 you're just like, wow, like that's crazy.
yeah.
What's gonna
Yeah,
happen
and then
next?
there's nothing for like
Yeah,
9
there's
years.
nothing. Yeah, nothing, bro. And I remember like when I stopped watching anime, I gave up, and then I came back and I see season 2. I'm like, no way. And I'm like, that's crazy. And then I watched season 3, and I remember that was when everybody was like getting into anime, and that was when part 2 was about to come out. So I remember I caught up, and I was like waiting for part 2, just sitting there waiting. And if I remember correctly, actually, I think I was there for season 3. Now I think about it, like the first part of that. Now, if I remember correctly, yes, because this is it. Because part 1, if anybody was watching it up to date, and you watched the last episode of season 3, part 1, it was absolutely insane the transition they had and the chills I've gotten on that. Because at the end of it, it like
Oh,
goes,
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
ending. So yeah, it's the ending
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
going
yeah.
into the field, and it just switches.
And
up,
it like
there's the
glitches out.
cuts.
Yeah,
And then you just see Levi sitting there above, and you're like, what is going on? And he's just like, it's like, you messed up. And I'm like flipping out, and then it goes right back to the ending, and everything's like glitching out. I don't know, bro. I remember I watched that at 2:00 at night. I was flipping my crap.
Oh, I
remember.
wow, I don't
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
You're
'cause-
watching it live?
Well, because it was like, so it was right when it came out, but then I was like sitting on my bed because it ended. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna wait for part 2. And then so I was sitting there on my phone, and then the screen changes, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, what is
Yeah.
going on? And the ending like song changes, and you just see Levi standing above there and like saying like you just messed up, and you just see like a body on the ground, and you have no idea what's happening. And they did this like, it was so perfect, and I was flipping out, and I had no idea what was going on. I remember I sent a message to Ethan, and he's like, no way. He's like, because he didn't watch the full ending, like he didn't watch it all the way, and we watched it, and he was just, I got on Discord. It was like 2 a.m. We had school tomorrow, but we did not care because it was just it was wild. Like it was something that right there. And then right when it led to season 3 part 2, I remember when the opening, oh my goodness, that opening was wild. It was just too hype.
God. So hype.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite openings of the whole
Oh,
series.
easily, dude. It made me
Because-
so pumped. I wanted to just, oh man, it was just so
Dude,
great.
because it had my favorite part about that opening is the fact that they
Mhm.
have all of the other openings in that opening.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
good.
That's fine.
Just such a good opening. Like opening links with that. That's what I'm saying. For season 4 part 2 is gonna come out December, I think, or January.
Yeah.
They
already
better
finished the
bring-
manga,
They
so
better bring back Link to
I
Rise
ain't-
opening.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm even gonna watch it.
Yeah, in my opinion, if Mappa does
Mappa?
not pick up their wait, is it Mappa's gonna be the one animating it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully they pick up the pieces, dude.
Well, if in reality, for me reading the manga, they're gonna have a really tough time animating part 2.
Oh
really,
my
unless
God.
they
Part 2 is going to be so hard to for any
Yeah.
studio. You'd have to
Oh,
be
yeah,
like
for any.
You have to be Kyoto Animation to be able to put a budget.
Yeah,
to-
you'd be
because
Kyoto,
so much
Ufotable, or
wild shit
A1. Yeah, you need like, and like I hope Mappa does a good job, but I don't know.
Well, to be
Dude,
fair on
honestly,
Map-
wait.
You can put a spoiler alert for this, but I'm gonna be pretty upset if the rumbling is like 100 CG Titans, bro. I'm gonna be kind of upset.
I would be
I
so
think
pissed.
it
And
is
if it's
gonna be.
bad
There's just no
CG,
way.
but if it's like bad CG, bro, I'm gonna be kind of upset.
Well, no, yeah, and that's why I just don't. In my opinion, I don't have any hope. And if it is good, then I'll be fine with that because I didn't really have any hope. But
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't have any hope.
Because I
I've been
finished
telling
the manga,
everybody.
and the manga
Yeah, I
is,
finished it too. Yeah,
but I'm ready to see it.
I know.
animated. But the thing is that like, to be fair on Mappa, okay,
Mhm.
Mappa did kind of. I liked Mappa's animation. It was okay. I kind of
No,
liked the direction they took
Yeah.
the Attack Titan. They made him look a lot scarier. They
Yeah.
made everything look a lot scarier, but the CG animation for them wasn't the best.
Yeah.
But to be fair, any CG animation for any show isn't really that good. And Mappa,
Except
Also,
Gainax and
time.
Sunrise, dude. They do
yeah,
amazing
okay.
on that shit.
Gainax and Sunrise does have some pretty good. Those Love Live for Sunrise, those Love Live animations when they're 3D, I can't even tell they're 3D. They're just fucking. They're like 2D animation. It's crazy. And then Gainax does have good, like the Ava movie.
Mhm.
That was pretty good 3D. I'm not gonna lie. Gainax that did themselves, but Mappa kind of was pressed for time. But the show itself is a really good show. It definitely is well written in all aspects of it.
Yeah.
It's well written until it isn't.
Yeah, that's true. But the show is good. The show is a shonen battle kind of medieval setting. There's a huge twist in the show. One of the biggest spoilers. Thankfully, I went into the show not knowing the spoilers.
Yeah, I had no idea
So
either.
I went into it pretty blind, which is. I mean, I knew one of the Titans and so like about them. So that was a bit of a spoiler, but I didn't know exactly why that was the case. So like, I'll tell you guys later what it is because I don't want to have to keep that.
Dude, I was I was watching it weekly, dude. And I lost my mind, bro.
In season 3, part 2.
Yeah, I think everybody just collectively lost their mind, dude.
It was so crazy.
Indeed.
The episode with the basement was like, what the?
You don't know how long I was waiting for that because in season 1 they teased it so hard, and I was like, I gotta know what's the basement. And then I waited, was it 6 years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
6
Figure out what
years
was
to
finally
go
in
to
there.
the freaking basement, bro.
Yeah,
God
bro.
damn.
But no, it's definitely a really good show and definitely worth it. It's one of the best. I put it off for a long time because of how popular it was. But I understand why it's so popular because
I
it is
understand, too.
truly one of the best shows I've ever watched. Well written characters. I mean, the story itself is so good and like very realistic. Like few animes capture this sort of morality struggle that this show captures.
So good.
It's just a really, really solid show.
No, I love like the depiction of war, right?
Yeah,
and how like Aaron's character is just like, oh well, maybe this is a spoiler, I guess, but and how he like evolves, right, from going from like a typical shonen type character and to like evolving into like a more ambiguous, more human character, right?
Yeah.
He's doing stuff for his own belief, and it just really demonstrates war with like there's no right or wrong in war, right? It's just a difference in ideology.
Yeah, it's just, you're either
And
on one side or you're on the other.
It's just really clean. Also, Hiroyuki Sawano is a god.
Yeah, definitely. He's the voice actor, correct?
No, that's the composer
He's
of all
a
the
composer.
music.
Oh, the composer.
No,
bad.
yes, I was gonna say something about that. Oh man, best that and Kevin Pe. Oh, I didn't talk about Kevin Pekin on Made in Abyss, but Kevin Pekin, Australian, beautiful. He makes beautiful.
He was on the Trash Taste podcast.
Yeah. Oh, he was.
Yeah, they're good friends
No way.
with him.
Oh, dude, he's so good. Well, and then
but no,
Hiroyuki
soundtrack
Sawano,
to this show
it's
is
so good.
so good. It's like Kingdom of Predators type. Like it's like Kingdom of Predators, but the whole show is the track of Kingdom of Predators. Such a goated show. The soundtrack for the show is like it's so unique because this show, a lot of its aspects, from the animation to the art style, to the concepts, to the ideas, to the fights, to the music. Everything about it is very distinct and very unique. It doesn't feel like another show. You can watch something like Hunter x Hunter and it can feel like another show. You can't watch Attack on Titan and it does. There's very few shows that can kind of feel the same way that it does. This is one of the best shows. The only reason I didn't put it on my list is because I was going to talk about it if nobody else put it on their list. But I'm glad you put it on your list because it is a really good show. Season 3, part 2 is fun, like amazing, and like I couldn't imagine how it would have been to watch this show weekly and annually in order to build up to this moment, because I binged it all in one night and it was still amazing. But to have that hype going into it must have been awesome. So definitely a good show.
No, yeah, dude. Season 3, part 2, fantastic.
Yeah.
And then that one scene with Levi going through the city. Oh, dude,
oh my
that's
goodness.
so good, dude.
So good.
No, dude, it was just too clean. Levi, like I know a lot of people already like him, but dude, he's just too clean. And Aaron,
He is
oh my
so
goodness.
clean.
Actually,
So
Levi's
clean.
too clean.
He's just way too clean, man. Like, too cool.
Yeah, but moving on from that god tier level show, I gotta ask, why the Yuri?
So why the Yuri? Well, so this show surprisingly caught me off guard. This is during one of the seasonals, 2018 seasonal. Paul was watching it, and people were saying it was good, and I was just like, and it was either episode 1 or 2. It was, I don't know, bro. I was just in that time of just like where love was just a big thing, and I always wanted to try to find it, and for some reason, Bloom Into You just gave me this good opportunity for it, and it was beautiful. It felt like I couldn't, okay, the only character that I could relate to was actually the only guy that was in there, and his name was Shiji, and he was a supporting character that would legit, the only thing he did was sit there and be like, all I want to do is help with relationships. That's all he did, and so that's what he kind of did with you and Toko, the two mains that, one of them's like kind of like a tomboy but doesn't really understand love, and the other one just absolutely loves the other one. And tries to put all her feelings, which I could probably relate to that now, but not you, but Toko, and putting like all your like feelings into somebody. But then having, I don't know, it was like, I think it was episode 2. They were going on the train track, and everything just kind of like stopped, and then the nice little soundtrack came on. The soundtrack here isn't like, too crazy, but it was just a nice, and then like the flowers were bloom into you, and then so they like, yeah. And then
Title
so
drop.
Oh yeah, bloom into you. Yeah, that is true. Put it right in, and then it was just, I don't know, it was just super cute, man. It was just too good. I honestly, looking back at it, I still love it, even though it is just, just a normal kind of Yuri. But then it, like, I don't know. I mean, try to think. The ending. Well, I think it kind of just ended on season 1, and I was trying to read the manga, but it just didn't get the same feel. I don't know. I really like the animation, and even though it was just kind of like a basic kind of Yuri animation, but I don't know. I very much enjoyed it. The kind of guy that would like or at least at that time, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely that dude. Just sitting there, trying to help relationships, just trying to see how, things go, try to learn more. That was what I really liked. And then just how like Toku and you would really present their kind of like, I guess you could say love was very just, I don't know, very cheesy, but it was very like just simple. I don't know, I liked it so much. It was just, it's a funny one that it's on there. I think it was just because of how much, like, I could easily, all these shows, I also put it into the category that I can rewatch them now and I would have no problem.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
how I
for
kind
sure.
of put them in there. And
Yeah.
so, even though some of
Definitely.
these like aren't like, like my no, they're definitely my favorites, but like I have like on my anime list, I have Code Geass, which is definitely my favorite, but then like I could rewatch it, but then I don't know, I'd rather rewatch these other ones that I have. But then
True. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
that
feel
was
you
pretty-
on the rewatching. Cause like some shows, like you can't really rewatch. Cause like
Yeah.
especially Code Geass, you can't really rewatch it. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, that experience when you get it the first time is just so
Mhm.
clean. That being said, I have rewatched Code Geass like 2 or 3 times though, so it's whatever.
that's respect. I've rewatched probably most of these, except for Haruhi. I probably need to rewatch that, but or actually, I haven't watched
It's hard to
Hunter x Hunter,
rewatch that.
but It is hard to rewatch.
Speaking of Harvey.
Well, you telling me you don't want to sit through Endless 8?
Oh man.
Not again.
Not again.
Not again. But,
So speaking of Harvey, we can move
Mhm.
right on into the next pick, which is
yeah,
we
So
said
this
it
was
5 times, Harvey.
yeah. So I loved the movie. The movie was still good, and I couldn't like really like truly appreciate the show without the movie. But I honestly just really liked the show. I don't know why. It was just for some reason when I watched the Endless 8 arc, I don't know why I enjoyed that so much, because it was like my brain was tricking me. I was like, oh, there's got to be something. Now if I rewatch this again, I know nothing's gonna but like in my mind I was like tricking myself out. I was psyching myself out, saying like, you gotta finish this episode because something's gonna happen, and then it would change slightly and then it would just end. I'm like, it's okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no,
and
dude,
so-
that was me though. That was me when I was watching
That
that,
was-
too.
And so
The
I was
Endless
enjoying
8.
it so much because I was like, no way is this show gonna keep tricking me. And then I realized it's the Endless 8, the reason 8. Yeah, okay. And then I don't know, I was not thinking at that time for sure, but
The show is definitely really good. It has cast of really interesting characters. I like Aya Hirano voicing Heart. She does a great job.
She does.
The show is basically like Bunny Girl Senpai and Clannad put together, except it's not sad like Clannad, and it's not as serious as Bunny Girl. It's just a lighthearted supernatural kind of. It's very mid 2000s. The show came out 2006, and then part 2 came out 2009. A huge hit craze in the mid 2000s. You couldn't go anywhere without mentioning Haruhi to anybody, without anybody knowing Haruhi. Haruhi was huge, and then it kind of fell off, which is weird to me, but that's another discussion for another day. Haruhi itself, great show.
No, it's really good.
The watch order is up to you. Definitely, if you're gonna.
Oh, dude, I listen to God Knows like almost every day. That's my playlist, bro.
So
That's such a good song.
Dude, oh man, it's just too good.
the riff.
Oh man.
Dude, one thing I thought was interesting, because it was like opposite for me. You said like the movie really helps you appreciate the show, but it was opposite for me, because the show really helped me like the movie. Like I like the movie a lot more than the show, dude.
That's what I'm saying. That's
that was. I
agree.
Because like for me, the movie makes the show a lot better to me in hindsight. Like the show, I think if I was just to like look at the show by itself, it's not super amazing. I mean, I think it's cool. Like some of the stuff that they do, and like some of the, I don't know, the humor, because it's like the show like makes fun of itself a lot, and it's like really interesting how it does that, right? But I think the movie just makes the show a lot better for me. I don't know.
I definitely agree with that. I just like, I don't know why the show really just appealed.
The show's good. Like
a lot more.
The openings are really good. Aya Hirano, who voices Haruhi, does the opening does the openings and the endings. I mean, you have Super Driver, you have Boken Desho, you have or is it Boken Desho? It's one of them. You have Tomare, you have the infamous Hare Hare Yukai, which Hare Hare Yukai is just so good. The songs are really good.
Is that the one ending?
The Ana Fureta Hinakoto. I actually memorized the dance.
Yeah, he does.
I know the dance. But I just sat there in front of my computer for like a month just practicing the Hare Hare Yukai. So I do know the dance. But the show is good. The characters are interesting. It's just a fun to watch show. You're not going to get anything groundbreaking with it until you get to the movie. But you're not going to get anything groundbreaking with it. Nothing super duper revolutionary. It's just fun. It's good fun to watch. Kyoto Animation did the animation for it. It definitely has that early moe kind of semi-moe boom. So the animation and the art style is influenced by that. It's earlier Kyoto Animation, great animation. They outdid themselves on the part 2. You can notice part 2 looks a bit different than part 1 because it's 3 or 4 years difference. But the movie is really good in its animation. But we'll talk about the movie because I have it on my list, the movie. So we can talk about the movie when we get to my list. But the show itself is really good. I really enjoyed the show. It's just good fun. It's funny. The characters are cute. My main complaint with the show, which is why I like the movie more, is Haruhi's character does get a bit much.
Pisses me off sometimes.
He does piss me
off. She's like over here slapping Asahina around, like.
I know, and that's why that slap when Kyon slaps Haruhi. This is not really a spoiler because it doesn't spoil any of the plot. But when Kyon slaps Haruhi, I was like, damn, she really needed that. She's uptight for a lot of the show. Her character can either be really good or really just an asshole. She's an asshole sometimes. But the show is good. I say that, right? And I have the complete box set sitting in my room. The show is good. She can just be an asshole sometimes. But that's not even that major of a complaint because the rest of the show is really good. The animation's really pretty. The stuff they get into is funny. Definitely watch it the show is meant to be watched out of order. And if you look it up, if you do want to watch the show, they do have different orders because the show broadcasted out of order. So stuff that happens at the end of the series happens at the beginning of the show. So like the episodes are messed up. So that is one thing that I think enhances this experience and does make it a bit more unique is you can watch these episodes out of order and then piece together the story. But it's not that deep to where you have to piece together a story. The story's really not that complex until you get to the movie, which the movie is really good. So any closing thoughts? Because those are your top 9 right there. So is there anything else you have to say about your top 9?
No, not really. I think I got it.
Well, those are lovely picks. A lot of those are, you don't see a whole lot. Like
Indeed.
the manga you chose, Made in Abyss. A lot of people like Made in Abyss, but I feel like a lot of people don't like to say they like Made in Abyss.
Yeah, that is true.
Garden of Sinners is interesting. A lot of good choices here. Very solid.
You have very interesting picks for the show, dude.
Yeah,
Indeed.
definitely some very.
I definitely did not expect to see Garden of Sinners up here.
Yeah,
That is good.
Garden of Sinners is good. I gotta say the Sprinter. Sprinter is so good.
So
Oh. Yo, dude, you put me on that when we play Osu. That one, you put me on that song, Frankie.
It's
Dude. That
so
song
good.
is so good.
That
Oh,
Osu
man.
map is so good.
Garden.
But yeah, so those are your two lists. Very good list. I like y'all's lists. Very
Right.
good. Next we can go on to my list. I'm not gonna do mine from left to right. I'm gonna do mine a little bit out of order, just because I didn't arrange it to make it better as it went on. So I guess my first pick, which is pretty normie one. It's been number one on Mal for like ever. Is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Personally, to me, this show is really good. I guess I should say the criteria that I picked this was shows that I enjoy and shows that are really, really good. Because most of the shows on here are really good, and I also like to watch them, so that's why they're on there. But Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, I like to watch because the story itself is really good writing, really good characters. The animation is really pretty. But it's just good fun. The dub for this show is really, really, really good. And I can just sit there and watch the clips over and over again. Because even if you know what happens in the story, because it's just like Attack on Titan, where you shouldn't get spoiled for the show, because the show has a grand story that slowly gets pieced together.
Yeah,
But
the way everything comes together is really cool in the show.
It is really cool. Definitely really cool. The show itself is really good. And just like Attack on Titan, this is one of the only other shows I can think that could kind of match itself to Attack on Titan. Not as close, but the themes that it tackles are very serious issues. Race, war, like oppression.
The sins, the great
The sins, yeah.
Yeah.
The homunculi
Those
are
the
very
homunculi. Philosopher's Stone. Yeah,
all sorts of stuff about the show. It's set in like early 1900s to 1920s, but it has magic and stuff. So it's a very interesting era of time for a show to pick, which you don't usually see. There's only one other show, and that show's on my list, that chooses that sort of time frame to pit its show. Attack on Titan does the same thing, where it's around the same time period as Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist has magic and stuff. Fullmetal Alchemist is just a solid story. I mean, it's probably one of the most vanilla, complex stories you can get. And it sounds like an insult, but it's not. It's just like Demon Slayer is one of the most vanilla shonen you can get. It doesn't push itself too hard, but it doesn't drag itself down. It's good enough.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I mean, vanilla Demon Slayer is harmless. I mean, it doesn't do anything out of the ordinary, and that's what Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood does. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and Fullmetal Alchemist itself, the original 03. I like 03 a lot. I know some people don't, but I really like it.
I'm glad I watched 03 first. You told me to do that, and I'm glad I did.
Definitely should. If you're gonna watch this, watch 03 first, and then watch Brotherhood, because
good.
Brotherhood skips past about 30 episodes of content and condenses it into 11. But the story and the themes are interesting because they're so different from each other. You get to see, the original came out in 2003. You get to see the mood of anime at the time versus the show that came out in 2010, which is more faithful to the manga. Has a completely different feel, but the show itself, both of them are really good. Both of them are halves to a whole, which are really, really good shows. The show itself is completely solid. It's one of the most inoffensive shonen, well-written shonens you can watch, because it doesn't try to do more than it needs to. It is just overall a good anime, and that's why it's been number one on Mal for like ever. It's got like a 9.7 or 9.8, which is one of the highest scores you can get on my anime list. It's just everybody likes the show, and it's a really, really good show. So that's why I wanted to get it out of the way, just because Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood are very common picks for a lot of people, but it's just a good show. My next pick that I do have to say that before we start getting into a bit more like not as known stuff, Berserk. Berserk itself, the anime, the 2016-2017, it is not good. It's not good at all. The animation is very dookie, very, very horrible. But the show itself, the concept and ideas of Berserk are really, really interesting. There is no other show like Berserk that tackles some of the stuff it talks about and that is beautifully written and drawn. I know Zach or Shady. I'll cut that out. I know Shady. You read Berserk as well. I think it's because I told you to read it, right? So, like, what do you think about Berserk?
Wait, you missed out.
I was wondering why you weren't really talking that much. It's because you got a sandwich in your mouth. Oh, it's okay.
No, that was the worst timing because I was like, you know what? They're not gonna ask me any questions for 2 minutes. I might as well brush my teeth. And then
Hey, I got you. I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
We'll pick it back
So
up.
here's the
Ready?
thing about Berserk.
No, yeah, I finished it. Yeah, I finished my teeth brushing.
Okay.
But what do you want to ask?
Okay, so five.
Dude,
five-
here's the thing about Berserk. I think I've read like 10 chapters of Berserk and I just couldn't keep going.
Dang,
What,
really?
what do you mean?
I don't know, dude. I just remember when I
Yes,
told
man.
you I started reading Berserk a long time ago, dude. I was just reading it and I was like, this is cool. This is really long though.
You're trolling so hard.
Bro,
right
it's
now.
so good, man.
You're so good. You've got to be like you're obviously on something when you were reading it. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you were just maybe tired or something.
I don't know. I just really didn't give it a chance. I don't really read manga that much. Like I think I've read like 2 manga ever. So
No, it's okay. You just don't have good taste. It's fine, man. I understand. But
hey, I did pick up Vagabond though. That's a cool manga.
Okay, Vagabond is-
Vagabond. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Vagabond and Berserk similar in the sense of like their art and stuff is phenomenal. Kentaro Miura, which if you didn't know, pretty recently Kentaro Miura died. He passed away from heart complications. Very sad, very tragic to have that happen because he's truly one of the best manga artists, mangaka to ever come and produce stuff for us. His story is really good. The Golden Age arc, one of the best arcs in the history of anime and manga medium. Golden Age arc, beautiful. His art is beautiful. And so may he rest in peace. The story won't be finished, but to me, as much as I want the story to be finished, and I really wish it would be, I'm completely satisfied with what has happened so far. And his legacy will live on as one of the best mangakas to ever do it, basically. And I just hope that Berserk one day, because technically it's the same thing that you put, Shady, where it's a manga, technically not a show.
Yeah.
I did put the movies are really good, and the anime from 1997 is really good, but nothing has come out yet that has truly captured the element of Berserk. Like nothing has truly been able to match up. It's the same thing like how with One Punch Man season 2, it kind of fell because One Punch Man season 1 was you took a manga that has really good art, like the guy that does the art for One Punch Man, next level, not one they did the online webcomic, okay art, but the guy that does the art,
Okay.
but the guy that does the art for One Punch Man knocked it out of the park. And the first season of One Punch Man does a good job of emulating the art style, but there has yet to be something that truly manages to capture Berserk's art style in all of its beauty. And so I do hope one day that there is a good and faithful adaptation to the show. But it's just a really good show. You should definitely watch it or read it or however you want to consume it. Just don't watch the new animes because they suck. But it's a really good show. Next, speaking of really good shows and something that all of us have seen, Neon Genesis Evangelion or the rebuild of Evangelion. I was honestly expecting you guys to put them on your list, but
it's okay.
Dude, I
It was
didn't put
good.
it on my list because everybody puts it on their list.
Yeah, that kind of
way to
was falling into that. But
way
it
to
also,
call me out, man. Damn.
No, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, it's not like a bad thing. It was just like, I don't know. Neon Genesis is great. I don't know why I didn't put it on my list. It's just sometimes shows, right, especially bigger shows, just don't affect me as much as the little shows. Sometimes
I
don't know why.
get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, the show is really good. If you haven't watched or if you haven't heard of Neon Genesis Evangelion, you must have been sleeping under a rock for the past 30 years because it is one of the best shows you can watch while simultaneously being one of the weirdest shows you will ever visually see. Because like some of the stuff that they do doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's, if you watch the original series and if you just watch all the series, it's really degenerate. I will admit. Some of this, they're like 14. It's just, There's a lot of
Hospital
fan-
bed.
Oh my god! The beginning of Evangelion, that scene. Ooh.
If you know, you know. I mean,
If you know,
Oh, you know.
that's just disgusting. But yeah, the show is really good. The animation, Gainax blew their budget on
Yeah.
this show. Like literally,
dude, this show looks good compared to stuff like today.
Oh yeah.
today. Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah. It looks so much better. Oh my god. It's
Gainax's
crazy.
animation for the show is so good, and the concepts. I sent a video to you, Zuhair, which I'll send to you, Shady, where this guy went over this, like, what happens in the show. Because this is one thing about the show: you cannot go into Evangelion expecting to understand what is going to
Oh
happen,
yeah.
because it just doesn't make any sense.
Indeed.
But the show itself is really good. Basically, it's a mecha where they fight. Well, loosely a mecha where they fight giant monsters and eventually turn into orange juice. But the show is really good. Definitely worth the watch. Only 24 episodes. I think it's on Netflix. But if you're gonna watch it, make sure to have the ending songs. The ending songs are really good. "Fly Me to the Moon," a different
man.
version.
That's yeah. The music in there was really crazy. Like,
Yeah, the
some good
soundtrack.
music.
So the soundtrack is done by Shiro Sagisu,
Mm-hmm.
which the soundtrack for the show is really good. That's another thing. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh yeah.
Phenomenal soundtrack.
Oh man, their
Next
openings.
level
Their
soundtrack.
openings were something else.
Their openings and endings were something else for both
Yeah.
shows. And then Neon Genesis, I mean, you know the opening. The
Yeah,
Cool Angels
Everybody
pieces.
knows that.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows the opening. It's
Indeed.
probably one of the most recognizable openings besides Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
No, but dude, Ava has such great music. Like
Great
not,
music.
Not only Cool Angels Thesis, but like Calm Susser Todd. I listen to
Oh.
that song
Oh
so
my
much.
god.
Ooh, that
I listen to that
song.
song so much.
Like it's
Mr.
such a
Todd,
sad
dude.
song, honestly, but man, it's so good. Like,
So good. That's the
even the one OST where like when the angels show up, I don't remember the name of it. Though.
the which one? The bum
It's like
bum.
bum bum ba na 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 na.
oh, you're talking about the like the yeah, I know
That's
which one.
so-
You're, like when they're training or something. Is that or no?
No.
I'm
It's
stupid.
the one. It's the one that goes bum 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 bum.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, I know what you're
It's
talking
nice to
about. I was
battle
thinking of
with
when
Dragon
the
Ball.
Asuka
I
and
love the
Shinji were
soundtrack.
training. Oh my
Um,
goodness.
the soundtrack to the show is amazing. The rebuilds are good. I don't like 3.0. I know you like 3.0 Shady.
Yep,
I
I love
personally don't like it.
I love it so
um,
much.
What's up?
No, I was
I-
just
I-
surprised that he likes 3.0 that much. I
Yeah,
was like,
you like 3.0.
Indeed.
It's okay, but the rebuilds are good. They're on Amazon Prime right now, so you can watch all of them because the movie just came out in, I think, August.
I still need to watch the new one.
You still need to watch it, man. It's
I know.
really good.
the new
I've
one
been
is really
slacking,
good.
man.
I'm not
I
gonna
know.
lie.
Really
The
good.
new one is really good. I think it's a
It's
really
like-
nice way to
I need to
end.
watch it tonight. I'll do that.
It is. It
tonight.
is probably the best ending an Evangelion can have.
Yeah, you know what? I'm watching it tonight. I got to. I just got
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, you gotta watch.
Also, dude, I just want to say, this is not a spoiler, but like, I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but dude, they dropped the title, bro, in the
Dude.
movie. It's the cleanest thing ever. It's
Wait,
so
really?
clean. It's
No,
so
no,
clean.
no, no.
Ooh.
You should have told him that. Oh, because it's so cool to watch it when you see
No,
it.
yeah, that's fine.
You
I'm
want
fine
that?
with
You.
that.
It's not really. It's not a spoiler for the story,
Yeah.
but it's pretty cool. I guess.
No,
it's not
but
really
like,
spoiler
I don't
'cause
know.
you
I know what it
we're
is, dude. But that's just something that I just think is so cool. Like in any show that I watch, right? When they drop the title of the show, it's just like the coolest thing ever.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you didn't spoil anything for Zach. Okay. So you don't know what we're talking about. You'll see what we're talking about in a second. It's pretty cool.
All right.
When you watch it later, it's the same thing with like Invincible. Well, no. I'm not saying it's the same thing like
It's
Invincible.
so cool.
But to piggyback on what Zuhair was saying about where they drop the
Mhm.
titles, it's not the same thing in the movie as it is in Invincible. But I do
Yeah.
think it's cool when shows be like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
do that.
didn't you know that I'm?" And then the title screen. And it's just,
If anybody has seen Log Horizon and they know like halfway to the show, they're like all
Mhm.
standing at this cliff and they drop the title. So
I
clean,
haven't watched
so
Log.
fire.
Yeah, I've actually only listened to. Oh man, there was an opening on
Dude, Log
that I
Horizon's
really liked.
opening. Oh, dude,
It's the one I'm thinking
I'm just
of, right?
living in the database. Oh my god.
Yes, it's that one. Yeah,
So
that one's
fire.
crazy.
It's so fire.
But I've never watched it. I just heard the opening and I loved it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fire.
I need to get around to it. But next pick. So my next pick that I'll choose is more. It's a known show, but it's not as well known. It's actually Baccano. Baccano. I know I keep going on and on and on about it to use you there. I still
Yeah.
have yet to finish it, but I know when I finish it, it's going to be good because it's already good. I only have 3 more episodes left. The story takes place in 1930 Chicago, which I've never seen an anime take places in like gangster America ever. So like that's pretty clean. It's not a topic people usually make animes about. And the dub for this show is so good. There's only one other dub I can think of that would be better, and that's the Castlevania dub. The Castlevania dub is so good. They hire like actual British people to do these, and it's so good. But the dub for this show is really good. Essentially, it's like a Quentin Tarantino film, but put into an anime. And so it's really, really good. If you like Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Inglourious Bastards, if you like those kind of movies, it's pretty much the same thing, but really good. And the animation is okay, mid-2000s, so it's not the best yet, but it's still pretty good. The soundtrack is interesting. It's very jazzy because it's set in 1930 Chicago, but the plot is really good. I know I won't talk about it for too long just because you guys haven't seen the show, so there's not really a lot to talk about in it. But the show is really good. It's kind of a hidden gem now because not a lot of people know about it. If you watch Trash Taste, Connor will go on and talk about Bakuno's dub all the time. And that's just because it's good. But to continue on the stream of really good, not well-known shows, you guys know Rurouni Kenshin, correct?
Yeah.
So Rurouni Kenshin is a show about a samurai set in the Edo to Meiji Revolution period and post-Meiji Revolution in Rurouni Kenshin. Basically, it's when Japan was going from being Tokugawa shogunate, which is the people that rule all the different prefectures, to being a centralized emperor government. Rurouni Kenshin he's called a Batosai, Hitokiri Batosai, which is like an assassin for the show. Good show, great. It itself is harmless, it's just a classic 1990s shonen. However, the reason why I put this one specifically is this is Rurouni Kenshin Meiji Kenkaku Romantan Tsuiko Hen, which is Rurouni Kenshin Trust and Betrayal, which is a 5-episode OVA detailing the life of Rurouni Kenshin before he became, or while he was still the Hitokiri Batosai, but before the events of Rurouni Kenshin. The animation for this OVA, I don't know what studio did it, but they really knocked the socks off of this fucking show with how good the animation is. It was genuinely impressive, the animation, and the story is so good, and the music is so good, and it's like a solid 9 out of 10 show. You have to watch Rurouni Kenshin, or I guess you don't have to watch Rurouni Kenshin, which is actually what's interesting about it, is this OVA is you can just watch it, just the OVA, and appreciate the story. It's so good. It's a tearjerker. It's really, really good. And I was not expecting it going into it, but it is so, so good. Definitely one of the best OVAs or short series I've ever watched, because it's just, animation is good, the voice acting is good, the soundtrack is good, the story is good, the writing is good. Everything about it takes what Rurouni Kenshin had and makes it 10 times better. The fights in there are cool, especially if you've watched Rurouni Kenshin, because there's scenes where they bring back characters that are later in the show, like Sato, who's a Shinsengumi captain. You see their fight that they mention a lot in the show happen in the OVA, and it's kind of cool to see it happen because they mention how awesome this fight was that they had between them, and then you get to see it finally in the show. Definitely a great show. Some of these picks you guys are gonna know because
it's interesting hearing about them though. That's how I was kind of hoping to go with mine too.
Yeah,
be interested.
One that we both know, I'll go on to another one. We talked about it at the end of your pick, was the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. Just such a good movie. I mean, the
soundtrack,
the piano track, just so good. And then Kyoto Animation did a great job with the animation for the show. I think it's the longest anime movie to be produced, at 2 hours and 35 minutes long. The only thing that came close to it was the new Neon Genesis Evangelion movie, which is 2 hours and 31. This movie's really, really good. From start to finish, you get invested into the characters you'd already watched. And this is a movie where I do have to say you have to watch the series. You have to watch Endless 8 to truly be able to appreciate what the movie's like, what one of the characters does in the movie. And then when you watch the movie, you appreciate the show even more. What are your guys' thoughts on Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya?
Even though I did love the show, I really did like this movie because of in my opinion, I don't know, because it was building up, and I think when they did, actually I don't want to spoil it, but they did a lot of good things around. You know, I'm just gonna put spoiler, but the time, the time they did, like, so like with like how he like Haruhi doesn't remember him and what was it was just so like just well done, and like it also made me like hurt because I was like, come on, I don't know, I love, especially with their long hair. Oh my goodness, Haruhi, I love long hair.
Oh, long hair Haruhi
was
so
like
good,
adorable.
so good.
Like I couldn't, bro.
Haruhi's so fine.
Yeah, she is so fine, but her and
Okay, she's like 16, guys.
17.
Yeah, and
Age of consent in Texas is 17. But
she's just right on the. Actually, I think for legal reasons they have to be 18 on like a lot of these shows. Like they have to be 18, even though they say their age is different. Because that's what they did for Doki Doki Literature Club. They made all the girls 18, even though technically they're not. But yes, Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, very beautiful, animation-wise, music-wise, story's really good. The pacing is a little slow, so if you don't like slow,
it was still good, man.
It was really good. It's a good movie. It's definitely. There's a reason why it's on everybody's top list, is because it's a good movie. Yeah. Another movie that's really good, and this is my next pick, is Rascal Does Not Dream of Dreaming Girl.
Yes.
I loved the Bunny Girl Senpai series, but the movie.
Oh, the movie was
so good.
Yeah.
The movie was really good. Shoko Makinohara was a great character. The movie itself, solid 9 out of 10 for me. It did so many great things, and it took, usually when you have a movie or if you have a continuation of a series, it doesn't do as good as the original, right? There's very few instances where it takes what the original had and expands upon it in a great way, and that's what this movie did.
Yeah.
The stories are really good. It's such a tearjerker too, because the voice acting is so good, and the soundtrack for this movie, it just feels so depressing. And it's such a good movie. And the concept of it, like the whole story that they have with it, that piggybacks from the original story, is just so good. And the ending to the movie, even though it fucks with me and I don't understand a lot of like what happened, is still so beautiful. That last scene when a certain character turns around on the beach and says hi to certain characters.
Yeah.
My only complaint with the movie is that in the middle, when which, without spoiling anything, you guys will know what I'm talking about. When Sakuta, when certain character, something happens to a very main character, and he doesn't have enough time to really dwell on it. It's 5 minutes, and then here's a solution, and that was my biggest complaint about the movie.
I don't think it was like 5 minutes though. I mean,
no, it actually was
it's like
minutes.
a limited runtime though, so like there's not really that much you can do with the movie. But like they definitely showed him grieving though.
Yeah, I mean they did, but like in Haruhi, like I felt like you were there with
you were there.
Yeah, when he was going through it, like I felt like it was like a good, like maybe even if it was like 20 to like 30 minutes, it felt like long. Like I remember I couldn't wait till that phase was over because I knew eventually
it was so hard.
It was so long, and I wanted it, and it was so rough. But sorry, that's what I wish they would have done with this movie, is because in Haruhi you get to see Kyon, you get to see him, like you get to see everything. And they did a good part with this movie until that part where it's like, I wish I would have seen a bit more of the effects of what happened on this guy, because he sits there and then they just like, oh, here's a bed. And it's like, oh, okay. Now he's fine. But the moment where the bed stuff does happen is pretty clean, because they reference something at the beginning of the series for the movie to have. Oh, it's such a good movie. It's really, really, really good. One of my top picks for a movie ever. I would recommend watching the series before you watch the movie, but this is one of the movies where you don't technically have to watch the series.
No, you do. No, you do.
I mean, maybe, but like, it could stand alone.
I mean,
no, I don't think so. Because like, a big part of the reason why I like this movie so much is because of how attached I am to the chemistry of the main couple.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't think it would hit the same if I watched it not knowing, you know.
Yeah, that is
not
true.
Having seen.
Well, speaking of chemistry between characters and good romance plots, perfect segue into my next pick is Maison Ikoku, which is a show that I feel very few people actually know. You said you watched Inuyasha when you were little, right? Inuyasha is
Yeah.
made by a woman called Rumiko Takahashi, which has made several different series. Zach, you know one of them. So originally she made Urusui Yatsuda, which is 1970, which is a show with, I don't know if you've ever seen the girl with the cheetah print bikini, green hair,
Oh,
and little
yeah.
horns.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
Lum.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Her name is Lum. She's from Urusui Yatsuda, which is a good show. Then she made Mermaid something. That was okay. Then she made Maison Koku, and then she made Ranma 1/2, and then she made Inuyasha, which she is a female mangaka, which is kind of unheard of. Not a lot of mangakas are female, but she makes good romance stories. Then she eventually became more of a shonen, which is why Inuyasha is a thing. But I would still say Inuyasha is more of a romance than it is just a shonen. Maison Koku does a lot of things that not a lot of animes even today do, and especially at that time. This was made in 1986, and ran until about 1989 or somewhere that it's very mid to late 80s. So the style, you'll notice the style and the pacing and the audio quality is significantly different than you would watch any of these other shows. This is an 80s show. It doesn't look the same and it feels a lot different. But essentially the plot is you have Ronin, which is, I think it's a word for a Japanese student that is in between applying for a college and has failed the last time, so they're trying to get into it the next time. It's about this guy who lives in a communal hostel house with a bunch of other people, and he falls in love with the manager of the place, and essentially you just follow their shenanigans until they eventually get together. And that's not really spoiling anything because it's the whole point of the story. What I like about this story is I think it's 86 episodes long, so it's kind of a longer series. You expect that from a show of this time, because in the 80s and the 90s, a lot of the shows were very long. This is before shows became, like in late 90s to mid 2000s, you had the 24 episodes. Then you have the 12 episodes now. This was back when shows were really running very long, like really long. 86 episodes is actually very short for this kind of show. But the show is really good. There's also an OVA, which is also really good. There's two shows that really were going to take this specific spot. Maison Koku takes an interesting story of 22, they're older individuals, so the story gets a bit more mature, which I like a lot. It's goofy because it's 80, more slapstick humor because it's a product of its time, but the show has amazing openings and endings, great 80s city pop songs, and the soundtrack is really good. Very synthy because it's 80s, but the soundtrack is extremely unique for the show. The writing is really good, and there's a lot of very tear-jerking and heart-jerking moments in the show. That's just overall one of the best romance series I've ever watched. And I went through a phase where I watched a lot of romance series. I watched Lovely Complex. I watched Maison Koku. My next pick that would have been in this spot is Kimagure Orange Road, which is also a really good romance series from the 80s. I watched all sorts of really good Kimi no Todoke, Ao Haru Ride, My Little Monster, all of those really good romance stories. Itazura no Kiss, all of those shows. I watched a lot of those shows, and that fills my romance spot. But I feel like this one is one of the best ones because the animation is really good, the story is really good, the characters are really lovable, and all of them act really human. Even though they're very slapstick, they're very human, and that's something that you didn't see at this time. Was characters acting human. A lot of the characters 80s and 90s are very over the top, and it's really until Evangelion where a show took the human characters very seriously and made them down to earth. Even though Evangelion characters are really out of this world, at the base of their characters, and the same thing with Maison Koku, they're real people with real feelings and real emotions. The stuff they get into that they do is something a real person would react to and really do. That's one thing that took the spot over Kimagure Orange Road, which takes a bit more of a funny approach. It's a bit more of a comedical show until you get to the movies, which is honestly really heavy. Kimagure Orange Road, I would argue maybe has a better soundtrack than the show. Really good soundtrack, opening endings, phenomenal, really good. Animations, whatever, but it takes more of a supernatural Haruhi kind of route where it's a bit more goofy and a bit more silly than Maison Koku. Maison Koku is one of the best romance animes I've ever watched, and I definitely recommend it to anybody who wants to watch this series. I think it's like an 8.7 or 8.8 on Mao, which is pretty good. Definitely a good show. Deserves more recognition. Not known enough. Great show. My next pick, which is I think is my last pick. You watched it, Shady, and then Zuhair, you watched it too.
Oh yeah.
I saved this one for last.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Okay, so I saved this one for last because in my opinion, if someone were to ask me what is my favorite show, I would probably say NHK Niyokso or Welcome to the NHK. Welcome to the NHK, I will admit, is kind of a shit show. Like, it's not really that good, but the points that it has are the soundtrack. It's one of the most unique soundtracks I've heard because it manages to make you feel depressed in every single track. Every single track, you just feel so lonely and so, like, insignificant, and that's the whole point of the show. The show itself is about a guy, Tatsuhiro Sato, he's a hikikomori, which, if you don't know, is a term for basically a shut-in person, but like to the extreme. Like, they never really go out, they don't do anything, they just sit inside all day. And he meets a girl named Misaki Nakahara, which I would have to say is one of my top waifus, even though in real life she'd be...
Oh my god, dude.
What do you mean, oh my god, bro? Don't talk to me about Mikasa.
Yo,
Misaki Nakahara.
Wanpankun has a thing for savior complexes.
I don't have a thing for savior complexes, man. I don't have a thing for savior complexes. But essentially, that is the plot of the show. She's signed a contract with him and is trying to make him into a better person. But the reason why I like the show a lot is, as degenerate as it gets, it portrays a lot of its characters and a lot of its subject matter very seriously. It tackles very serious topics like suicide and depression and other mental conditions very well, almost on the level that I would say, well, a little bit better than Evangelion, which is kind of saying a lot because Evangelion does handle a lot of those stuff very well. This show does handle its serious topics, which it does have a lot of serious topics. So if you don't like stuff with very, I wouldn't say dark themes, but very heavy subject matter, don't watch the show. When I watched the show, I was at a bit more of a darker time, and so it resonated with me a lot better than it probably would now. But the show is still really good. My main criticisms with the show are that all of the characters kind of suck. Every single one of them are not very good people, and the animation goes from being okay to almost intolerable around the midpoint of the series. There's an arc in the middle that has some of the worst fucking animation. It makes Naruto, like those still shots of Naruto where the animation was bad. It's like that, but it's like the whole fucking episode, and it's like 3 of them, and it's so frustrating because Studio Gonzo drops the ball because the rest of the animation, it's okay, it's passable, but then the animation for this just fucking dog shit, and I'm like, oh my god, they really dropped the ball hard. But the show itself is really good, and I gotta say, if you ask me what my favorite opening of all time is, I will say Puzzle.
Oh yeah, no, this opening is cool.
I will say Puzzle. Puzzle, the opening to the show, is really good, and the ending songs are also really good. But the opening is my favorite. And then there's something that they do with the opening, which is cool in the middle of the series that will reflect the tone shift of the series.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's really good.
Okay. So here, dude, there's some spoilers here, guys. Skip ahead, whatever. You know, he'll do the thing. But goddamn, did this show piss me off so much when they did the suicide party thing? Because I think they did it so disgustingly disgusting. I hated it. I hated it so much. The whole, like, I don't know, that suicide party thing they did. It was so whack to me. Like this is. It was just so bad. Like, I don't know. It just pissed me off so much. I was like, dude, this is
what
like,
about it?
This is some shit. This is shitty, dude. Why am I watching this?
that is.
What, you mean like it just made
I
you
really
feel?
liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Nah, dude, I can't. Like, I was watching it, right, and I was just literally losing my mind. Literally, I was so fuming at the show, at the suicide party thing.
For
I was
what?
like, dude,
What about it did you not like? Like, is it just like, did it make you feel disgusting to watch it, or was it that they just executed the arc poorly?
dude, I mean, here's the thing, is that I don't even really know why I get so upset when I watch it, but I just get so upset when I watch this guy literally crumble to the people around him and then try to jump off the cliff. I'm like, dude, what? That's just even talking about it, cause my blood pressure goes crazy even talking about it. I don't know what's wrong with me, bro, but like that scene just rubbed me the wrong way, dude. I don't know why, it just does.
What about you, Shady? What do you think?
Well, when I was watching that, I remember that was like a big tone change for me. When they just went right to like the suit, I'm like, oh damn! I'm like, this shit's getting like, because I mean, I don't know, that guy, he was an interesting fella. That man.
Yeah, definitely. Because like at the beginning, it was like Like, I get what you're saying. And so, spoiler over, if you came from the skip time, we're going to be talking about stuff. Not really spoiler, but it just the themes of the show. There is like you are saying, it's like very comical, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa.
It's like, wow. I'm like, dang.
And because then it starts tackling really, really, really serious stuff, and that's what I like, that the opening reflected that. But the show itself is really good. It's very frustrating because these characters are not good people in the slightest. And I think that's what I like about the show, is that none of them are good. It's kind of like Konosuba, where the show is good because all the characters are like idiots. Like, they're all stupid. This show is good because all the characters are not good. They're not better than the other person. They're just trying to live their lives and figure out how to deal with the situations they're put in. And so I get why you're frustrated with that scene, but personally,
I think what makes me really mad is just how much. What's his name? Sato. I think how much he just like. He just doesn't do anything, dude. Like, you know what you want to do. No, because like this is how exactly I remember happening. Like, this guy's like, dude, I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to die. What the hell am I doing here? And then by the end of it, he's just like, oh, you know, my hot ass fucking senpai who sexually assaulted me at school and wants to jump off the cliff. Maybe I'll jump off the cliff with her. And I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
you just didn't want to, and now you're going to. What's wrong with you?
He's supposed to be like a mess of a person, so like it makes sense why he doesn't really have a whole lot to live for. So I kind of get why he did some of the stuff he does.
I mean, I guess,
but you can't tell me he doesn't do anything. He legitimately turns his life around at the end point of the show. He becomes a productive member of society.
That's the thing, dude. I just got so frustrated with the show is that I literally stopped watching after the suicide party shit.
Oh my god!
Yeah, no, he did turn his life around, and it was nice. The ending.
Yeah, so essentially, what happens afterwards for anybody that has seen the show? I'll go through back in and put the spoiler. I essentially just have to put a whole spoiler point from the moment you said something till now, until after I'm done talking. But the show, it gets, so after the suicide arc, it does get better because, well, I don't want to say better, but there's a big tone shift, because after that it starts dealing with his senpai's depression, and it's one of the most realistic portrayals of depression I've seen in a show, because someone close to me does suffer from depression, and the way that they describe it to me is the same way that they describe it in the show. And so most shows, when they talk about depression, like really any show, they talk about, oh, I'm so sad, you know, I'm depressed.
Wonder Egg priority.
Basically. But in this show, they tackle depression. Depression isn't necessarily like a feeling of, don't mean to drop this podcast like really, really heavy, but the show portrays it in a way that is very realistic. It's not like you're sad, but it's just that you're empty. It's that there's no motivation to do anything, and it's not so it's not so like an emphasis on sadness, it's just a lack of anything else. And that's what they do really well in the show later on, is they tackle really heavy subjects after that, because before that it's like really weird lolicon stuff and really weird shenanigans and degenerate things, and then suicide, and then depression, and then like gambling and having to support somebody else. Like
I actually really liked the show before the whole suicide party thing. I think the show was pretty good before the whole suicide party stuff.
Well, you need to watch after it, because the show after it is really good too. He legitimately turns his life around.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say though is he turns his life around, and the ending is okay. But if you want any more of it, I would not read the manga, because the manga, if you didn't like the anime, the manga will make you very, very frustrated. The manga made me extremely frustrated to read, because okay, so Misaki in this story is tolerable. Some of the stuff she does makes sense, and you haven't gotten to the point yet where you understand why she does some of the stuff that she does, but the reason why she does some of the things that she does makes sense in the story's context. You know what I'm talking about, Shady, when they're on the mountain and he gets the backstory of like Misaki. He gets Misaki's backstory with everything with her family. That makes sense. But in the manga, it takes all of that and says, yeah, big fuck you. She's a completely normal girl, and she's just doing all this for shits and giggles. And it pisses me off, because in the anime, there's a reason for what she does. But in the manga, she's just like, I'm going to be a dick to be a dick. And she is the biggest asshole. You think Haruhi's an asshole. This girl is a mega asshole in the manga. It sucks so bad. But yes, the anime is really good. I think it's definitely worth the watch, if not to enjoy, but to like a case study. I feel like it's essential for people to watch, because it's just a good show in general. I mean, it does a lot of things right, even if the animation is pretty poor. The opening, though, really good. But yes, that was my 3x3. So that concludes our 3x3s. So that was good. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing with us.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you for sharing
it
with
was
us.
fun.
Is there any other closing messages you guys would like to say, or anything? Any ideas for the next episode or whatever, or anything you have to say to the audience? I don't mean to just cut it off like that. It's just, I mean, we talked about all our 3x3s, and now I feel angry at Zuhair for clowning on my waifu choice like that.
Hey, okay. I just want to say, dude, like, Misaki is not clean. I don't know what's going on here,
dude. She's not clean. Like
dude,
most of the waifus.
Misaki is manipulative and weird, and I don't know, dude.
Dude, hey, hold on.
I don't know, dude.
If that's you, dude, that's you. I mean,
well, most of the waifus you choose, like for example, if you like Rem, realistically, would Rem make a good girlfriend? No, she's like kind of crazy.
What's wrong with Rem?
Dude, we're not getting into the
Wait, what's wrong with? Not saying that Rem is my wife, but like, what's wrong with Rem?
Well, have you not watched the show? Yeah, you have watched the show.
Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with Rem?
She's like sicko mode at the beginning of the show. I mean, she's fine at the end, but it's like
I mean, I guess, but
okay, fine. Take Asuka for example. A lot of people like Asuka as their wife, or Misato. I know me and you are huge
Misato, yes sir.
But realistically, would Misato make a good girlfriend? No. Misato has so much problems.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess.
God, we'll save this for like a waifu episode, because I know that's when stuff is really good.
Dude, all I'm saying is that Senjo Gahara is my queen, and I don't need anybody else.
Okay, Eric, this man, I love this man already. Shinjo, oh my goodness.
I don't need anybody else, dude.
Dude, I actually completely agree. Dude, she is so bad.
Okay. Okay,
that's too
so
funny.
I guess to drop a little hint for the next whenever episode, we'll do a waifu episode, and that'll be a lot of fun because people are gonna get.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
We can do a 3x3 or a 2x3 because I think it's gonna. There's a lot we're gonna have to say, so maybe a 2x3. We'll do a 2x3 top waifu picks, and that's gonna be an interesting episode.
Yeah, I know.
Because a lot of salt's gonna come out of this.
I'm interested.
But yes, so for now, that was our 3x3, guys. That was really fun to do with you guys. And yep, that was the first episode of Reanimated the podcast. If you're listening while we're releasing this, thank you for watching our podcast. If you're from the future, thank you. Let us know how we did, any opinions or whatever. We do have a Discord. I'll link that in the description, and it's present in the channel. But I just want to say thank you to you guys for watching. Thank you to you, gentlemen, for being on the podcast today. We have been Reanimated.
It was fun.
Yeah, we have been Reanimated, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Goodbye.